Welcome, everybody, to Birds of a Feather live on A2DRadio.com, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, BMW of AtlanticCity.com. Our first half sponsor, Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountant. Make them yours, GibsonMayer.com. Our Scanzano Sports poll question this week, guys. Who's the best running back in the NFL right now heading into the 2018 season? And brace yourselves, because Charles might blow his load early. Because we got running back talk this week, guys. Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Kareem Hunt. Anybody else you guys want to mention? Live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope. Answer the question on Twitter, wherever you guys are joining us. We appreciate you joining us. Chrome, Chucks, Ryan, the Bro, Doe, Mr. I nicknamed myself on the ones and twos. And back with us this week, Paulie Hudrick from NBC Sports Philadelphia. We missed you, buddy.
Missed you guys.
There was a lot of Sixers talk, a lot of good stuff that I know you would have gotten into, but
very much so.
You're back just in time to be a little too close to Charles for this running back talk.
I know, I'm worried.
Concerned. Yeah, guys, I mean, we're talking that. We're going to talk a little TO talk later in the second half of the show. We're going to talk OTAs, a couple standouts at this point. And what else are we talking, Charles? Remind me.
T.O. Oh, you said T.O. Jay Ajayi.
Jay Ajayi, that's right. Jay Ajayi.
Because what would a running back show with Charles and Bob be without talking about Jay Ajayi?
Hey,
that's right.
Deuce kind of knew we were going to have this show. That's why he made that announcement.
That's right. That's right. Deuce had Charles on the mind.
Clay, I'm sure that's what it was.
Early on, Clay Ferguson joins us. He says Gurley, Bell, Johnson, Fournette, Hunt. That's his top five. Rob Povia says, out of these choices and with coming back from injury in mind, he says Gurley, then Zeke, Bell, DJ, and Hunt. Mike Brown says, I'm saying Kamara, Alvin Kamara.
Okay.
Interesting.
Zeke says Gurley and Bell are 1 and 1A.
Okay.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
That's a really fair
tough choice. So let's dive into it, guys. What do you got? Should we let him go first?
No, let's let Paulie go first.
He's so excited, though. But he's so excited.
Okay.
He's building it. So, all right, well, if I'm going to say number one right now, I'm going Todd Gurley. I think Todd Gurley's the best back in the NFL. I think he should have been the MVP last season over Tom Brady. You can argue with me all you want, but I really do. I think Todd Gurley should have been the MVP of the league. Le'Veon Bell is in like razor thin second. Like there is a sheet of paper thin line between those two. I think they're without a doubt the two best backs in the league. I'd actually say number three right now, I'd go David Johnson. Mm-hmm. I think David Johnson with his ability to catch, I would not be surprised to see David Johnson have 1,000 this year because of what's going to be in that offense and how Josh Rosen's going to probably utilize him a lot. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be – I think he has a chance to be a 1,000 guy. Mm-hmm. I see a lot of Marshall Faulk in his game. Mm-hmm. That's the guy that it kind of reminds me of. You're not going to like this, Charles, but I'd probably go Zeke after that. I'd probably go Zeke number 4. The guy was the leading rusher in the league as a rookie. I mean, that's the guy's incredibly talented. That line, it only got better this offseason with them drafting Connor Williams. I think he's easily the 4th best back in the league. And if I'm going to round it out, I guess as of today,
5th is where it gets.
I mean, I'd probably go Kareem Hunt because I was a big Kareem Hunt guy from the Toledo days. You know that. Mm-hmm. Just the way he runs, his balance, his vision, his patience. I think he's another guy with Mahomes under center, tucking balls 60 yards down the field. It's only going to open up more stuff. And with Watkins and Tyreek Hill on the outside, he's only going to have more room to run. So I'd probably have him round up my top 5.
Top 5? Okay. Well, no surprise. I went all the way to 15.
We'll save it. I'll go mine first.
So
you can do your 15 after.
So go ahead.
I can't even do it.
He did it last week with quarterbacks, too.
I believe it. Go ahead, Carl.
No, so all right. So I agree with a lot of yours. 1 through 4 pretty much. For me, I think it's Gurley, then it's Bell. I absolutely put David Johnson. I think David Johnson's a close 3, too.
Yeah.
I don't think
the only reason
I mean, I don't think – I agree with you. I think 1,000 is a very good possibility for him. He's got to stay healthy. I want to see how he's going to come back from this injury. But I also think they kind of took precautions with him last year because they were going nowhere. And he is a huge asset. But I would probably go Zeke next. And I think I would put Alvin Kamara and then Kareem Hunt. I really love Alvin Kamara. And we're going to see a lot with him this year. We're going to see with
All
Kamara.
right.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I like Alvin Kamara.
I'm not object to it. He's the one that made a face.
Well, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to give him mine now?
Go ahead.
All right, so
I mean, he's pretty much everything he said. I agree with.
But with Alvin Kamara, my thing is this: he wasn't a lead back last year, and even with Mark Ingram being out, Sean Payton has already said he's not going to lead back again this year. So I can't put him ahead of a guy like Kareem Hunt, who I know is going to be
Yeah,
the
but how many?
number one
I mean,
cowbell back
listen,
in the
we
league.
saw that with Derrick Henry and a bunch of other guys too. Just because they come into the season not the lead back doesn't mean that they aren't going to come into their own.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll do my top 5 first. I got Le'Veon Bell 1,
Okay.
and the main reason why I do that because if you know me, I love versatile running backs, and there's no running back who's a better receiver in terms of he can line up as a freaking wide receiver out wide, and he's practically the number 2 wide receiver on the Steelers. So obviously behind Antonio Brown. So there's no running back in the league that is as versatile as that, who can offer that kind of versatility and dual threat as a runner and a receiver. I have to go Le'Veon Bell. After that, it gets tough for me between 2 and 3. When it comes down to it, I'm going to put David Johnson there, but it's very, very difficult. I flip-flop between him and Gurley between 2 and 3. So I'm not going to argue against anyone putting Gurley at 2 or 1. To me, it's really close between those 3.
1, 2, 3 is tough.
It's
Yeah.
very,
They're
very
a very
tough.
clear-cut top 3.
I was
in
going
the
to
league.
say,
Exactly.
I think that's the
Yeah.
one
And
we
then
all
it's
could agree
everybody
those top
else.
three.
Exactly. Number 4, and this is where this is where I'll put my hot take is Kareem Hunt, and then I have Zeke at 5, and this is why. If you had asked me last year, obviously, but besides my hype for Kareem Hunt and like how much I hyped him up coming into the draft and afterwards, Zeke, he kind of lost. He came in this season overweight, a little bit lazy, and then he had his suspension. I don't know if we're gonna see I have to see it first, him coming back to his rookie form, because I from what I've heard too, he still looks a little bit overweight going into OTAs. So I don't know. I want to put him at 4, but and I'm doing my best not to hate, because like Zeke is going into the draft, he was one of the most heralded draft prospects at the running back position the past few years. He is very, very talented,
He's a
but
freak.
in terms of character and just everything else, like I have to drop him down a notch because I had to see him get back to that form first. But you guys already know how I feel about Kareem Hunt. I think he is an elite running back, maybe like a hair behind those 3 we mentioned. And that is as it is. 6 to 10, I've got number 6 is Devontae Freeman, 7 Alvin Kamara, 8 LaShawn McCoy, 9 Leonard Fournette, and 10 Jay Ajayi. And then 11 to 15, I got 11 Mark Ingram, 12 is Dalvin Cook, 13 Tevin Coleman, 14 Melvin Gordon, and 15 Jordan Howard. So those are my 1 to 15. And it's very tough. I think people with Jay Ajayi, I think he would be higher if he could show me he can carry 20 carries without having that knee issue kind of thing. In terms of talent, he's way up there. I would put him past LaShawn McCoy as of right now, but I can't, because of his health concerns, I can't do that. So he's at 10 for me.
I don't know that I disagree with your list there. Jordan Howard, I'm going to be interested to see.
Yeah,
this
I
year.
think. Well, I know. Yeah, Chargers are not as big on Jordan Howard as some others, just because he's not a good pass catcher.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm interested to see. Actually, Jordan Howard's a guy I'm really interested to see this year,
Me
because in Nagy's offense, he's gonna have to catch the ball.
Yeah, he's
That's
gonna
gonna
have
have.
to.
They're gonna have. It's gonna be like kind of a sink or swim year for him in that regard.
Yeah.
Not as a player in general, but as a guy who can do a little bit of everything.
And I think
Nagy's gonna make him do stuff.
And I think with that offense now being beefed up like it is, I think it's going to create a lot more opportunity for him
Absolutely.
to show me
Yeah.
a little
Oh,
more
yeah,
this
yeah.
year. So
The thing is, like, how much of is he going to do with still Tariq Cohen there, and word is they want to give Tariq Cohen even more touches, even expand his role. So I mean, we'll see. Like, the Bears, I think, regardless, that duo is going to be really good. It's just that I don't know if you're going to see him be used in the passing game as much as maybe we
Sure.
want to. So.
Well, I see Tariq Cohen maybe taking on like that Darren Sproles type of role.
Right.
Mhm.
Just a little bit, like he does a little bit of everything, even lining up as a receiver, lining up with Jordan Howard.
Yep.
I could definitely see a lot of that happen.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan.
Ryan is not prepared.
Ryan is Ryan is
Sorry,
drinking water.
sharing stuff.
Sorry, bro, doe.
I actually have a question for you guys.
What's up?
So, I'll give you the first one, and that is, out of that list, because I knew you had prepared a list, Charles.
We all knew
because of-
Charles.
one can only assume.
Tom laughed in the chat too that he said a top 15 LOL. with
I
a
could have gone to
crying
20,
face.
but I was like, nah.
You could have probably did the entire list through the whole depth chart too.
Yeah. Give me your most running back that you think is the most overrated in the league, and one that is the most underrated.
Overrated Isaiah Crowell. I don't understand what
Does
the
anyone
love
rate
was.
him anymore?
I was gonna
Charles?
say he's like irrelevant. to me.
The thing is why he came first to mind is because the last 2 years they had Duke Johnson, and I was like clamoring, okay, get Duke Johnson the ball more, because Isaiah Crowell is just a guy. Like he is so like just flat out like dull and boring as a runner, and I had to study him for the scouting academy, so I got an even more in-depth look at
How
his
boring
plain old boring like game, and it is what I thought. He is who I thought he was. He's just plain. He's just a guy. And I never understood why he was the workload. He got the workload in Cleveland. So
Where did he wind up?
I don't even know. Where did he? I will look it up.
I don't know where Isaiah Crowell
Yeah,
went.
I don't look.
Yeah, that's tough though. I don't know who I'd say is overrated right now. I think I don't know. That's tough.
Could I give?
Yeah,
Jets.
I don't know that I can give an overrated
Yeah.
name.
Jets. He went to the Jets.
Oh yeah.
Can I make the argument for Jonathan Stewart possibly?
Well, I don't know if he'd be overrated anymore because I think everyone realizes that he's just bad now.
It just seems like especially last season, people constantly brought up to like, oh, well, they have Jonathan Stewart. I'm like, what does that even freaking mean?
Yeah.
Like, what does that
Yeah.
mean? That doesn't add anything to, oh, my God, the Panthers have Jonathan Stewart. Oh, my God, the Giants got Jonathan Stewart. I'm like, and he's a backup to Saquon Barkley.
I
and
laughed.
Well,
I
yeah,
laughed
it
when
was-
they signed Jonathan Stewart. I was like, what?
Yeah, he might not. I mean, I guess he makes it through camp as just a backup back. But
Did you have Saquon Barkley on your list or no?
I didn't. I excluded rookies.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I think that's
excluded
fair to
rookies
do.
'cause-
Fair.
Yeah.
You don't want to get because that makes it a whole other
It
thing.
That's
makes
all
it a little
projection.
messy, yeah.
You don't want to get
Yeah.
all involved in that.
If you want to stick with overrated, I will also say, in terms of like drafts where he was drafted and everything, I will also say Christian McCaffrey. Like
Yeah, I think that's the
that
one I
would
was
be
actually
mine.
thinking of. Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
that would probably be
I
mine,
was
yeah.
so many Eagles fans last year wanted to draft him where we were, and I was like, why do you want a scat back like in the first round? Like, why do you want a scat back that
an
high?
elite scat back,
And-
Charles.
I know, please
Amen.
get back. Now, okay, if you want to draft him in the second round, that's fine, but not in the first round, especially in the top 14.
I think what he was viewed as, he wasn't necessarily viewed as a running back. He was more viewed as an offensive weapon.
Right.
Because I remember when he was coming out and people had him working out as a slot receiver. And they said
Yeah.
if he wanted to be a slot receiver in the NFL, he could do that
Yeah.
and be successful.
Yeah.
So I think people saw that. I was with you. I didn't
were
want
with me. Yeah, I
didn't
know.
want the Eagles to take him there. But I'm just saying the reason why I think a lot of people really loved him was because of that reason.
I
Because
think,
they viewed him as an offensive weapon that could do a lot of different
And
things.
I think he got a little hype because he's absolutely clean character-wise. No, nothing off the field.
Yeah, and he was. I mean, he was really dynamic too.
No,
with
he
Stanford,
was, and
man.
he's
I mean,
he's
he was a really
electrifying.
dynamic player.
People see the highlight reels, and so like he was very, very hyped up
His
by the media.
combine was
and
great too.
Combine
man.
was
I mean,
really good.
He had ridiculous
So-
cone numbers.
And
I mean, he
so
was
I
good.
understand the hype. I just didn't like 14 overall. Like you take him in the second round. That's what I really feel like. So in terms of overrated, like he wasn't, and it was no surprise to me that last season he struggled at running between the tackles.
Well, I kind of like Paulie, like you said, Paulie. I don't view him. First off, I wanted them to take McCaffrey because, like you, Paulie, I don't view him as just a running back, a wide receiver. I view him as a weapon, someone. And because also we were going into a season where we didn't know what Darren Sproles was going to be. We knew, like, okay, Christian McCaffrey could be our punt returner if we needed him to. Oh, he could be a great wide receiver tool. Hell, he could be a running back if we needed him. So I think he's more of an offensive weapon than just classifying him as one position. But I really can't say he's overrated because he's not just one position. I think, like, I agree, there was a ton of hype over him, a ton. And do I think, the Panthers taking him at 7 is kind of high? Sure, absolutely. But for me, I think the value in him especially compared to a lot of running backs in that they're only one-trick ponies. A lot of them are. They can only do one thing.
Yeah.
McCaffrey is the exact opposite of that. And two, I think he has a lot more to offer because I think they were trying to figure out what they wanted to do with him as they went last season. And also, they don't know what they want to do with Cam Newton. So Cam Newton and what they do with him directly affects the production of Christian McCaffrey.
Their offensive line wasn't very good either.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, they had a tough season.
They didn't have an identity last season.
Yeah.
That hurt him.
I mean, I say they had a tough season. I mean, they made it to the playoffs.
The thing is
but-
with McCaffrey when you talk about because you're right. There's a lot of one-trick pony running backs, and when you're a one-trick pony running back in the league today, it's gonna be hard for you to be a full-time starter or to be significant because you have to be versatile to an extent. You have to. The thing that I always harped on with McCaffrey is that it's not so much that that I discounted his versatility because his skills as a receiver are they're phenomenal. I never doubted that. It's just to me, I saw someone who hadn't proved to me or shown me the ability or the skill set to be able to run between the tackles. And that was proven last season, rookie year. Now, can he improve in that way? Yeah, he can. But I always saw him as a guy, a Reggie Bush with better vision is how I described him. Because I was never a big Reggie Bush fan. So Christian McCaffrey, to me, he's not a one-trick pony, but at the same time, it's not like you're getting someone who has shown the vision and the strength to run in between the tackles when needed. So when he's in there in the backfield, you kind of always know he's going to go either outside zone or outside counter, outside power. You're not going to run him up the middle because he doesn't show that he has the strength to do that. So that was my issue with McCaffrey and why I didn't see him anything worthy of being a first-round pick. I really didn't. If you're late first round, 31, 32, then I would have been okay, I guess you can take him. But all that first round hype he was getting, that's why I didn't, because to me he's that a scat back and an offensive weapon. But to me, if you're going to draft a running back that high in the first round, they have to be able to carry the load. They have to be able to do it all, or else no, you're going in the second, third round.
I think a guy that could be underrated, and I know we like him because we mentioned him, and I mentioned him earlier, is Derrick Henry. Because he's such a big physical running back. And with that offense, if Mariota takes that next step in that team, we talked about them possibly being a little bit of a surprise team this year as far as kind of stepping up in the AFC. I think he could be a huge part of that now, being the guy without any question, without having a DeMarco Murray or anybody else around him. I like his makeup. I know he's a big physical guy who's got a lot of speed. I think he could have a huge year this year.
I think that might be the most underrated running back field in the NFL with him and Deion Lewis.
Yeah.
I love that combo. Actually, you know what? An underrated guy who I think is actually a pretty damn good back. I think Lamar Miller's a pretty good back.
I agree with you on that,
and no one really talks about Lamar Miller. He's not a bad back.
He's not bad. I think he's just...
And their offensive... Talk about an offense. Their offensive line's garbage, too.
You know what part of it is with Lamar Miller is that everyone saw his per touch ability in Miami and said, if you give the guy the ball more, he's going to do amazing things. But then when he went to Houston and was given the ball a lot, he had a good last season. He had a good beginning of the year, but then he kind of tailed off.
Well, it's also
so I think Lamar
they lost their rookie quarterback who was playing.
I meant the year before. I'm sorry.
Oh.
His first year with Houston, he had a good start, but then he kind of tailed off. And so with Lamar, I think what it is you have someone who is who had all this hype, but he never lived up to the hype that people put out there. Especially, I think a lot of it.
We saw flashes of it.
Flashes of it. I think a lot of it is the fantasy community too. Fantasy football. Yeah, I knew a lot of people that are like, oh my gosh, Lamar Miller. Now that he's the guy in Houston, he's going to be like a top 5 back. It never panned out, so it's kind of like he's kind of the forgotten guy.
He never got here's the thing though, he didn't get unbelievable money to go to Houston. He didn't get paid one of the top end backs in the league.
I forget what his contract was.
It's not cheap, but it's not crazy either. You know what I mean? He's not paid like Le'Veon Bell money. You know what I mean? He's not getting paid outrageous money.
Well, Le'Veon Bell money. He's not getting paid Le'Veon Bell money right now.
Well, no, he is. He's just only getting it once per year. 1 year. Yeah.
Let me go through Facebook here. We got a lot on Facebook. James Wilder says Gurley, Bell, Kamara, Fournette, Ajayi.
Fournette,
Ajayi high, buddy.
Ajayi is really high.
Thomas Arnone says, I love Bell. Tough question. I'll go Bell, Gurley, Johnson, Hunt. Frank Vespi says, sorry to bother you at work. He has McCoy, Westbrook, #callback. His serious one was Gurley 1 and Bell 2. Oh, I said serious, and Siri popped up on my phone, by the way.
That's hilarious.
Kind of scary. Too.
Charles,
that was creepy.
Charles' actual list that you guys can't see here actually just says Westbrook.
Yeah, he changed it just for the air.
Sure, guys.
Number 5, Pumphrey, Westbrook.
Guys, I heard he looked good today, guys.
Guys, he actually got on the
In
field.
mini camp without pads. I heard he looked good today.
Guys, he held on to a
Not-
ball.
not being able
He's
to get
going to
tackled.
make the team.
I heard he
Yeah.
laced up his cleats real well.
Yeah. He got the water for the guys really good. Really good.
Dion says, what's good, fellas? Poll question. That's tough, but I'm going to go with Bell, Gurley, top 2, Johnson, 3rd. I need to see Kamara do it for another year. Clay Ferguson says, Gurley, number 1, go Dogs. Dion says, Hunt's a gem. Seems like he'll be good for the next 5 years. I hate Dallas, so I can't put Dildo buying Zeke high in the fifth
Yeah,
spot.
that video.
Oh my God.
Too funny, man.
That was.
Clay Ferguson has Bell 2, Johnson 3, Fournette 4, Gurley 1. And then Dion says, shit, I almost forgot Shady. Put him over Elliott and Howard. So Bell, Gurley, Shady tied for 2nd.
Okay.
Hunt 3rd, Howard 4th, Fournette 5th, Dildo Boy 6th.
I almost tried to make the case for my top 5, Shady being number 4. I thought about it. I honestly thought about it. It's tough.
Yeah, I think we're basing a lot. I mean, I think
Like
you're
the injuries don't help his case.
Yeah,
to be completely
and
honest
we're
with you.
basing some off of prior history, obviously.
I think
Yeah,
at this
yeah.
point in
Being
his
so great.
career, I can't put him in.
No.
And
No.
And I also worry about him this year with Josh Allen as a starting quarterback or A.J. McCarron. Ugh.
Yeah, they're not going to be very good.
Ugh.
They're not going to be very good.
Clay Ferguson says overrated Carlos Hyde, underrated Tevin Coleman.
I wouldn't agree with Carlos Hyde being overrated.
He says Carlos Hyde will be the 3rd back on the Browns by the time the season starts.
Oh.
I strongly disagree.
Yo,
with that.
if we're going to talk about the Browns' backfield, though, I think
Sneaky.
Nick Chubb. I think that kid can play, and I think that offensive line is the offensive line that's built towards his running style, and I think they're going to use him right, and I think he's going to look good.
Yeah.
Dion says, but what if we think about it? There are a lot of really damn good running backs in the league right now, and I'm happy to see that being as the league is 85% a passing league now. He says, I miss the fullback position as well, the traditional style fullback like back in the day. James Wilder agrees with him. And Clay Ferguson says, Dion, there's a few teams that still do it, like Jacksonville.
Well, sticking up for his Jacksonville Jaguars.
Niners do it.
Niners do it. That's why they have
Shanahan as a fullback.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Kyle
I can't remember his
Juszczyk.
name. Yeah,
Kyle
Juszczyk.
Yep.
Could I make the argument for underrated? And I know he was just on the team, so people are going to say, oh, you're biased.
LeGarrette Blount.
LeGarrette Blount.
Sure.
I mean,
not as far as an elite, no. But when you're talking about
a factor
absolutely
in big game
a
situations.
guy who's a huge component on a team that can help them get over the hump or
Has
win.
he played in any big games recently?
I think he's playing a few. Just a few.
I don't have a
I
problem with
think.
that at
I'm not
all.
sure, but I think.
I think he scored a touchdown in the big game.
I said it last year. I said
Couple.
I said it last year when we signed him that people were drastically underrating this guy and the effect he was going to have on the team, and it proved in spades. I mean, we all I think were on that page when everybody was kind of trashing the signing and expected because of the big workload the year before that he was going to have the downside, but they utilized him perfectly. They found a way to keep his legs fresh for the most part, and he had a fantastic year. And I agree with you in a sense. I think this year he's kind of overlooked as far as an addition.
That was a big signing for
Yeah,
Detroit. That was a
absolutely.
huge signing.
Yeah,
I agree.
I was with Chrome. Like I love the signing too. I was like, holy crap, this is great. I think one of the things
Clay says he agrees with us. Too.
Yeah,
Blunt is underrated.
one of the things that impressed me that I honestly didn't realize about Blunt and his running style, he's more agile than I thought.
Yep.
He's
is.
got
For
good.
When you
Big
watch
boy,
it
yep.
day in and day out,
He's got good feet.
you get to see a lot.
Yeah, so he's not just like a trotter, not Jeremiah Trotter, like a plot trotter, on the field where he's just like plowing people over. No, he can move. He can move left and right and get around people. Like the one run against the Chargers,
That
was it
run
week 4?
ridiculous.
Ridiculous, but he wasn't just running over guys; he was running around them too.
Yeah.
So he was. I would have to say underrated, considering. I mean, I understand, but considering that last year, the Patriots let him go and we signed him late, And then this year, what was his contract? Was it a 1-year deal with Detroit? Teams.
He's a mercenary now.
Yeah, he's a mercenary. So, in terms of demand and market, yeah, I guess you'd say he's underrated because I think he would be around like a top 20 back still in the league.
I just thought of someone that could fall under overrated. Marshawn Lynch. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, yes.
Okay.
After post-retirement comeback,
See,
Marshawn Lynch.
It's tricky because he's nowhere near what he was, and I think that people, as the season went on, people got kind of forgot about him. But honestly, toward late in the year,
Second
he
half of the
did
year,
get
he
better.
started getting better.
He did get better.
This is why I consider him overrated at the moment. I've heard it 7 times in the last month with these early season previews. People talking about the Raiders, and I've said numerous times, I have no idea. That's the one team in the NFL, I have no idea who they are, and that's the Raiders. I've heard 7 times people lead off with, oh, well, they have Marshawn Lynch. And sure, you're right, they do have Marshawn Lynch, but that's not the enticing thing for me to say, oh, my God, since they have Marshawn Lynch, they're going 11-5, 12-4.
No, I hear you.
No, I agree with that. I don't. He's not somebody that's putting them over the top.
No.
But I would hold off my judgment on him because I don't want to say he's an afterthought, but I don't know what we're going to get. Obviously, he came back last year and had to get his legs under him.
Mm-hmm.
Second half of the year, he looked a lot better. He wasn't the old Marshawn Lynch.
Exactly, yeah.
But he wasn't that far off either. He was building momentum.
Exactly.
So now, having a full season under his belt and coming into this year, I'll be interested to see. I think he could get flashes of the old Marshawn back.
Well, here's the question for you guys, because you said, and I agree, the second half of last season he did look better. Did he look good compared to how he did the first half, or did he look good compared to the overall aspect of how a running back looks good?
No, I thought
you know what I mean?
I thought he looked overall pretty good.
I think I saw some more spry in his step. I think he started to get his legs under him, and
he ran the ball well against us on Christmas
he ran
night.
the ball really well.
Until he fumbled it twice.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also had to do, a lot of his struggles early on had to do with that offense as a whole.
Yeah.
I'm not completely taking blame off of him because, like I said, he's not the same back as he once was. But I mean, he's not. He's a lot better than a freaking Isaiah Crowell. I'll say that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think he's totally. I think you can still make play. He can still make plays, and he can still be an asset to a team like the Raiders, who have still a good offensive line.
Yeah, I
People
think he's
forget.
a good weapon.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mike Parker says Ajayi, Clement, Sproles.
All that matters.
Hey, buddy, fly Eagles fly.
Oh my gosh.
Mike Parker, Garage Talk.
Clement, I mean, I was going to put Clement as far as underrated because I don't think I do think he's going to be a star in this league, but I can't say that yet because he's only 1 season in. Like, it's tough to say underrated for a guy who's only played 1 season.
Yeah, who's not really on,
But kind of like we talk about with, like, the 76ers, like Dario is the best player that no one talks about. I think Corey Clement's one of the best running backs no one talks about.
Sure. I could agree with that in a sense.
On
Absolutely.
a national level, they don't really talk about him yet. I think that could change.
Mm-hmm.
But, right now he's the guy that caught a touchdown pass that was controversial in the Super Bowl. I think that's
100+
national. Yeah, at national level, that's what they look at him. He caught a controversial touchdown pass in the Super Bowl,
which is a shame.
Dion says Blunt was definitely underrated. I wish he was still on the roster, but I didn't believe they would re-sign him. Plus, he chased the money signing with Detroit as he should. Josh Allen will be a wild card just as Clement was. I feel it just of his skill set. Guys, why isn't he practicing? He's there at OTA, but just doing mental reps right now.
He's hurt.
Who's that?
Josh Adams.
Yeah.
He's hurt.
Yeah. I'm already convinced that he's going on IR.
He's not. Yeah, he's not going.
I'm convinced he's going. Matt Jones is going to take the 4th spot.
Most likely.
And they're just going to put Josh Adams on IR, wait for his foot to heal up and see what they got out of him next year, which is fine for him. It's like a redshirt year. He learns he wasn't going to play that much this year anyway. Let him learn the offense. Let him have that experience of being an NFL pro under his belt. Let that foot heal up. And the next year he gets a shot next year in camp. Nothing wrong with that.
Have you guys heard anything about the status of not status, but like Smallwood? Any hints on what they're going to do with him?
Yeah, they say that he's still got a shot. It's all gonna come down to health.
A very fleeting shot.
So-
You better figure it the hell
we'll
out.
see.
That's all I'm
It's
saying.
just it's health. But
Charles, you got the
Duce does
update
say
on
that-
Donnell Pumphrey
Yeah,
for us?
a little pump.
he made. I did see a tweet by Brandon Lee Gouton saying that he made a play. He looked quick, but granted, hold on. Granted, he wasn't allowed to be tackled. So I mean,
Damn, he made a
yeah,
play.
he made a
But
play.
guess what? He couldn't be tackled.
Like,
Damn.
literally
That's exactly what the
wasn't
tweet
allowed to be
said.
tackled,
That's
yeah.
exactly what the tweet said.
Damn.
But we shall see that.
First string today.
Done.
You guys
Cut,
are.
cut Clement now.
Oh my God, you guys are.
Cut
are
Ajayi.
Cut Ajayi. Cut them all. Fuck them. We only need
Duce
one
Staley
running back.
jumped the gun. Ajayi's not the guy. It's the pump. It's the
pump.
hashtag pump.
We
It's
only
the
need
problem.
one running back. He can return punts. He can return kickoffs. We don't need anybody else to run with the
I
football.
don't know why we pick on Pumphrey.
I don't know why. It's because he's half.
I do know
Filipino.
why, but
Because he's half Filipino. That's why. He
No,
does
what
it.
He had to take it there.
yeah, that's where we go quiet.
Go quiet, bro.
I did.
No, I'll get a shot in later.
See, we wait.
Should I go to YouTube?
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah, yeah,
YouTube's going. Let's
We
get
got
it going.
It was slow at the beginning, and then all of a sudden it got busy. So we got Rosca.
Probably the Pumphrey talk.
Tom said he's going
it
to jump
might
off
have
the
been
wall. Tom said he's going to jump off the Walt Whitman Bridge if Pumphrey starts.
I'll join you, Tom.
Rosca says Washington Capitals will repeat next year.
What's up,
Stanley
buddy?
Cup champions 2018-19 season. In the NBA Finals, who do you want to see next year? And I love this church song. I am proud to be a Christian. I don't know what that is. Womack says, Philly Dilly guys.
Billy Dilly.
I wanted Dalvin
Could have
Cook.
to read that one during the break.
Yeah. Sixers JT says, which team has better running back depth, the Eagles or the Falcons? Womack answers saying
Ooh, that's
the
a good
Eagles because of
question.
Sproles. Depth-wise,
Falcons right now.
I
I'd
would
say
give it to the Falcons.
I would say Falcons.
Overall talent and depth, I would give it to the Falcons.
I
right
Scott
now.
King-
Kingery, another RBI, by the way.
He's freaking back. He's
Four-
back.
4 ribbies for Scott Kingery tonight.
He's
that-
awake.
Is that baseball?
That's baseball. And Aaron Nola is just
Doing Nola
doing
things.
work, yeah, as he often does.
Gotta love it.
Sixers JT says, Todd, I hope Sproles actually has a good season. Something tells me he seriously regresses. I don't think so.
No.
Wait,
I don't think so.
who seriously?
I don't
regresses?
think that
Sproles.
I don't think
JT's.
Sproles is going to really regress. He's not going to be a focal point, but he's going to, as he was previously. No matter what role, 1, 2, 3 back that you want to call, he was a focal point. He doesn't need to be now. He's going to be a weapon, as we talk about a lot, used in the right situations, and they'll keep him fresh. They're going to make sure him coming off of that injury that they do as much as they possibly can to keep him fresh and,
And
ready to go.
he did tell, who was it? I think it was one of the beat reporters. He did tell them that he wouldn't have come back if he wasn't sure that he
Yeah.
had his elusiveness.
I was just gonna say that
Yeah.
Sproles seems like a very self-aware person, and I don't think he would be coming back because, like, the fact that if you remember, he was ready to retire last season, and
Yeah.
because he
Yeah.
knew he's like he wanted to retire while he still had it. He didn't want to be one of those guys that hangs around, and I think he's very self-aware. Like, I think if he
Right.
plays this season and goes 16 games and is healthy,
He's
I
done.
think he will hang it up.
Yeah, and-
I think he knows that.
and-
I think he's not going to linger. He's not one of those kind of guys.
And I would agree with you how you said he's a very self-aware person and not in a selfish way.
no,
Yeah.
I don't
self-aware,
think
not-
he's coming back for any selfish reasons. He understands he's coming back to a championship team, and if he didn't truly believe that he could contribute to it
He
in
wouldn't have.
some
Yeah.
aspect, maybe not the way he did before, but if he can't be a valuable asset, I don't see him coming back to
Yeah,
this
he,
team.
Exactly.
he knows
Well,
his role.
That's
Exactly.
it's another reason why, I understand what Sixers JT is trying to say, but Sixer JT, I wouldn't worry about him regressing because he's not going to be in a position to regress because they're not going to ask a lot of him.
Exactly.
Right. I don't want to disrespect Sproles and say he's just a bonus, but
He
he's
kinda
a
is.
Well,
he's a
that's what-
complementary
Yeah,
piece.
yeah.
That's what he
Yeah,
is.
He's a bonus.
It's the offense doesn't need him as much as they did 3 years ago.
No.
Exactly. When he was the only
he was the
weapon
savior.
on
Him and
offense.
freaking Ryan Matthews and
Oh,
DeMarco
God.
Murray, who wasn't the proper DeMarco Murray that year.
God. Well, Ryan Matthews did well.
When he was on the field
was
and
on
he
the
hung
field.
on to the
And
ball,
when he hung on to the ball, yes.
which was 2
Um,
games.
JT also
Christ.
says, "Oh shit! Someone brought up Donnell Pumphrey in front of Ryan Brodo." Which team did Sony Michel go to? I already forgot.
New
LOL.
England and the
Patriots.
Patriots.
He went to the Patriots.
Steal.
Todd Womack says, I hope they release Hyde so we can pick him up. LOL. Carlos Hyde, in my opinion, he's underrated. I disagree with Clay Ferguson. I think
Yeah,
Hyde is
I
underrated.
like Carlos too.
He was wasted away on bad Niners teams.
Yeah. He actually had his best. He played some of his best football under Chip Kelly.
Yeah.
Oddly enough.
Sister
in that
JT
offense.
says, "Oh yeah, I forgot Lions with Riddick, Abdullah, and Blunt with turn yards. Very underrated running back core." I don't know about underrated. Riddick to me is not a running back. He's practically a
He's
receiver.
scat. Yeah.
He's a receiver out of the backfield.
And Abdullah has
is
been really
pretty much
disappointing.
a huge disappointment.
I thought he was going to be a player, but
Yeah.
he's not turned out to be that.
No, but they did put a very good veteran to be there
Yeah.
and
Yes.
possibly
And that's
bring
what they needed.
That's what you hope.
squeeze out the
Yeah.
potential that was flashes there
Yeah.
before. Maybe it's an opportunity for him to learn from somebody and turn it around.
Didn't they sit him at the end of last season? Like, wasn't he healthy, but they were using him almost as like a healthy scratch?
Abdullah?
Yeah.
I thought he was banged up.
When last year?
Yeah, at
No,
the end
he
of
was-
last season.
Oh, at the end of last
Yeah.
season. Yes, he was.
They kept him out.
Yeah, they kept him out. Yep. There was like a game or two or something like that.
Oh.
I remember because I had on my
I remember
fantasy
that.
team and
Me
he was
too.
a huge disappointment. Frustrating.
I just remember him not. Yeah, that's all I know is he just has not been good in the NFL.
Like, he was technically cleared by some doctors,
Right.
but they chose not. They almost shut him down in a way.
Sure, I get it.
Yeah. So did you guys hear the news about what Duce said? So Jay Ajayi, he said Jay Ajayi will be the lead back in this committee.
Yeah.
I think it's the right choice.
I'm shocked to hear you say that.
I mean, was there another choice? Though,
Yeah,
at this
Yes.
point?
there wasn't.
No. Because I've heard a lot of beat reporters and a lot of fans calling for Clement to be the guy, and
You weren't
I
going to
don't know
make
with it.
Corey the guy over Ajayi. You might. I think
a lot of
Corey's.
people were saying it.
I think Corey's going to get more touches this year.
Yeah, for
Just
sure.
as a natural. That's just the way that's going to go.
Yeah.
And I also think you got to see. You have to find out about Corey this year to me because Jay Ajayi's contract's up. So you got to find out about Corey this year.
Yeah.
You got to find out whether or not you think he could be a lead back.
Yeah.
At least the way that's why I'm looking at it.
You know who I heard who said. I think I already told you. Teron Davenport and your boy Barrett. They don't like. They don't see Ajayi as a special back, and they think that Clement should be the guy. And I think those
it's
are
a
two
weird.
of the beat
That's
reporters.
a weird take.
Yeah. Adam
It's everybody
Lefko.
finding a way to take shots. That's what
It's-
happens when you're a champ.
I don't know. I don't know what people see, but
Yeah,
I don't know
it's
how
a
you
weird
can.
take.
I don't know how you can say that Clement is a better runner right now. I'm just talking about running, as a better runner than Ajayi. When Ajayi averaged 5.8 yards per carry with us last season in
I hear you.
second half. of the season.
I don't see the big deal about it because 1, 2 doesn't matter. We've seen how this team uses running backs, and it's primarily situational for the most part, putting them in their situations to succeed. So whether a guy's the first guy to carry the football in the game, or the second or third or fourth or fifth, sixth, seventh guy, they're gonna get the same amount of reps that they would have gotten regardless of who's the quote unquote starting
Well, it's-
running back.
I mean, look at last year when they get Ajayi and Blunt kind of takes a back seat for a little while. Then in the playoffs, Blunt came back in full force, including the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it's like one of those things like, yeah, Ajayi might be the lead back, but Corey, you better stay ready because you're going to get touches and you're going to get big-time carries.
And we
Yes.
know, because I do believe that they're going to end up probably positioning it situationally like they did last year, to where you know at that point in the season he does have issues with his knees that you have to be concerned about. There will be a time where Corey's going to
Yeah.
take the bulk of carries
I would
or,
agree.
or opportunities to make sure that you're resting up Jay to be ready to go for the J train to kick off in January.
Yeah.
So it's a moot point to me. As far it's great that he's starting because I think he deserves to have that cowbell lead back tag. But it's
yeah. Like if you
it's
look
a-
at
it's whatever.
it'll probably be something like this. It'll be like Jay gets like 55% of the carries, Corey gets like 30, and then like
Sproles will get the rest.
Like, supposed to
Yeah.
get the rest, like
Something
15%
like
of the carries, like
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that would be a fine mix.
Yeah,
And they would.
that
I
would
think
be
everybody
good.
would be happy in that
Oh,
mix
yeah.
too.
Couldn't I make the argument as like I completely agree with you guys. Like it's great news, honestly. Like to know this early in the off season and preseason, I guess this is considered.
Sure.
To know that he's going to be the guy, like that's great. Congratulations to Jay. But in all honesty, like for people that are panicking saying it's not Corey Clement, well, how about this, guys? How about if Jay Ajayi struggles? you can here's the beautiful thing about football and sports. You can decide mid-season, mid-game, hey, we'll go to Corey Clement and not Jay Ajayi.
Yep.
And I honestly think, I think it's kind of like you said, it's not a huge deal because I think every week matchups are a huge thing to where a style of Corey Clement could fit better for the Eagles going up against an opponent as opposed to an Ajayi.
Yeah.
And we've seen that numerous times, and I think, seeing how they had so much success last year with a running back by committee, I don't think people should look at it saying, "Oh, this is disrespectful to Corey Clement." Oh, what about Sproles? Is he going to have near 0% of the touches in the game? No. Listen, if people want to say Jay Ajayi is the number one guy, that's fine, but there's numerous other guys that are options.
He's not
and that's
the
biggest
feature guy.
point.
He's a lead guy. He's not the feature guy. He's not getting all the touches like Le'Veon Bell.
Exactly.
He's just the one that's getting maybe majority of it, but there's still enough to go around to the other guys.
Here's the plus with it. It's giving a pat on the back and a confidence booster to Jay Ajayi going into the season. But all these guys know the offense. They know that the opportunities are going to be split a certain way. I don't see Corey Clement as a guy who came in and said, I should be the lead back coming into this season.
Freaking undrafted.
I think Corey's like, cool, man. I know they're going to use me. I know where my place is on the team. I know my time's going to come whenever that comes. When they call my name and I'm put on the field, I'll have my opportunities. But if you want to look at it as, okay, at least we're going to go in and we're going to give Jay Ajayi the confidence boost to go in and, okay, this is your job now to be the lead back. Cool. I'm cool with that. Like, I don't think Corey Clement needed that anyway.
No.
If you want to talk about a mental makeup question at all with Jay Ajayi, then he's probably the guy who could use the boost, if there is that. Sproles is a veteran. He ain't going to give a shit. And I don't think Clement needs it. Clement's time's going to come. He's an undrafted rookie going into his second year.
Exactly. And
he's now a second back and behind Jay Ajayi. That's a huge promotion from where he was last year.
As the third back last year, he had 100 yards receiving in the friggin' Super Bowl.
There is,
it worked out just fine for him.
There
last
is
year.
no disrespect taking a guy who went from an undrafted rookie who what some people called a fringe make going into coming out of the preseason to now coming into the next year on a Super Bowl defending team as you are the number 2 back.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say, going back, do we remember how close he was to being cut? I mean, there was a legitimate possibility.
Yeah.
Corey Clement was not making this team.
Yeah.
Which I know I was screaming and hollering saying, if you don't freaking keep this guy.
I agree.
'cause
I did too.
There
I
was
did too.
something about him. And I think that's where this Pumphrey hate of mine kind of generated. So
Yeah.
I'm like, if you freaking keep Pumphrey over Corey Clement.
And Smallwood.
And Smallwood. Yeah, like this is where it started.
Because you heard the final cuts could come down to Blunt or Clement, and you're like,
oh, Christ.
oh
That's
my
right.
God.
And I kept saying,
And
like,
these two guys might make the team? Are you fucking kidding me?
because all I heard was, oh, you can't cut Pumphrey because he was a 4th-round pick and you traded up to get him, and you can't cut Smallwood because he's been hurt and he has a lot of potential, even though he never freaking shows it, except for the Pittsburgh game 2 seasons ago. So Corey Clement, for a guy that was A, undrafted, B, almost got cut, C, other than Nick Foles, if Nick Foles wasn't the MVP of the Super Bowl, it was most likely going to be Corey Clement, an undrafted free agent that almost got cut. I don't think he has any ego whatsoever.
Yeah, Tom.
There is one definitive trait that I see in Corey Clement that the reason why he's stuck, the reason why I think he can be a featured back, his vision. I still think he's got better vision than Ajayi. I think he's had better vision than LeGarrette Blount. And I think that's the one trait that is kind of overlooked for running backs that I think he has in spades. And I don't think you can necessarily teach that. I think you can harness it and grow it, but I don't think you can teach it. I think he's got an innate ability to see holes and see them quickly and hit them.
Well, that's why I've said numerous times I think he's going to be, eventually in his career, I think he's going to be a top 10 running back in this league. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. And again, I think his opportunity will come. If he has the year that
This
everybody
offensive line, man, he's got a chance. He's got a chance. I mean, he could be, who knows?
If he has the
Sky's the
year
limit.
that everybody suspects that he might be able to have to where he should be the quote-unquote lead back, he's going to take that job from Ajayi next year anyway, when Ajayi's a free agent. So it's a moot point at this point. Facebook Tom says, Going back to the Eagles or Falcons, he says Eagles are better or deeper. I'm a homer. LOL. He says, let's go. Can we all say as a family, hashtag back-to-back with the church music, LOL. Back-to-back. I'm with it. We gonna
I'll
cue it
say
up?
1 second.
He says, Sproles will make 5 huge plays this year at least. Big
He
plays,
always
not
does.
huge. And then he
does.
says the Lions have the curse of Barry Sanders still going. LOL, won't change it. Everybody, 1, 2, 3.
Back to back.
I love this music, by the way.
Come together.
That's the only words I know.
Yeah, that's
And something about joy and pain in there somewhere.
Isn't it like use your
Joyous
voice?
noise.
And there's
I'll,
Yes.
print, I'll print the script.
Joyous
I'll
pain.
print
Please
it.
do.
We're gonna read
We'll
the
do
lyrics.
karaoke next week.
Dion Brown says, "Is Ryan Matthews with the team right now?
No.
Not to my knowledge.
No.
Correct me if I'm wrong. What a
No.
train wreck that was. He's not with the team. I think his career.
spine
No,
injury.
he's
Yeah,
done.
his
He can't
career's
get,
done.
He can't get
Career's
cleared.
done.
He can't get
It's
cleared.
unfortunate because we talked about him. I think was the last time or one of the last few times you were on. We talked about Ryan Matthews.
Yeah.
Super talented guy. When he was healthy, he was great.
Yeah, he
But
just
couldn't
couldn't
stay
stay
on the field. Michael Dandria says 80 days. Hopefully, Ajayi bought a treadmill this offseason to outrun defenders. Tom says, why does one guy need to be that guy? They both bring different things to the table. They complement each other so well. You want to keep your horses ready for December and January, which we were talking about earlier.
Yep.
Michael Dandria says Clement is great and his own threat.
And, yeah. And zone threat,
Tom
yeah.
says, "Look at us, a bunch of birds of a feather." Damn right. He says he'll get 5 touches. Tom says he'll get 5 touches a game. Sproles. He says they
Yeah.
love to spread the football around. Ajayi better hold on to that ball. That's Michael D'Andrea.
Yep.
Tom was still asking for the church music. We got you, Tom. Oh, he said yes. He was happy with the church music.
Hold, please.
Dion says Clement is a utility back. He's excellent out of the backfield catching footballs with Ertz, Goddard, and the wide receivers. We have he'll continue to excel. Ajayi is the primary back right now. Well, I would say he's the lead back.
When we're talking about weapons, again, mini camp, so you can't put a ton of stock into it. But I've heard that Dallas Goddard has looked very good.
In the red zone especially.
Yep.
I heard he's
he's just got a knack, and this is
unstoppable.
what it was at South Dakota State too. He just has a knack for getting open.
Yeah.
And that's just again, it's one of those things you can't teach certain
Red
things. And I think
zone,
you just
red zone. We are going to tear it up in the red zone.
I have
Tell
a
me.
question for you guys as well. It's kind of a game. I don't know if you want to do it on this side or on the other side. If you want me to go by division and you give me the best running back in each division.
Let's go.
interesting.
Let's go. Come on. We got 10 minutes. Let's go.
All right, so let's start with the NFC East.
Zeke Elliott.
Zeke. Easy.
All right, let's go to the NFC South.
Devontae Freeman. Easy.
I have a feeling someone's going to say Kamara.
Hold on,
Right now-
I'm thinking.
Kamara's got to show he can carry the workload like Devontae.
I was gonna say
Devontae Freeman is a
I might-
freaking
I said Kamara
Beast.
earlier, but I actually might go Devontae Freeman. I totally forgot about him. So I would probably say Devontae
He's
Freeman.
a-
I
he's a
agree,
beast.
Freeman.
Yeah,
I think
So I'm
I'm
going to have
gonna
to
do
slide
I love
Kamara
Devontae
down
only
my
because
list.
Ingram got busted for PEDs.
Yeah, we don't know which ones
That
are
might have
organic.
aided. That might have aided his very good season last year.
The NFC North.
Okay, hold on.
That one's good. It might be.
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, it might be the kid that got
No, it is
hurt.
Dalvin Cook. I'd say Dalvin
I
Cook.
don't know. You know what? Jordan Howard right now.
I'd
Yeah.
say Dalvin Cook.
I'm saying Jordan Howard right now.
I like
I
Dalvin
think I'm
Cook's
with Paulie.
versatility.
I like Dalvin Cook
I think
too.
by the
but
end of
man,
the year, it could
that-
be Dalvin Cook, but I'm going with Jordan Howard.
Talk
at
about a guy
the
who's got to
current
prove he
time.
can stay healthy. Dalvin Cook.
You know what hurts Dalvin Cook's stock? The fact that when he went down, they were fine. And I know they had
Yeah.
Jerick McKinnon, but they were fine.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they improved, but they were more than okay without him.
This is true too. Yeah.
And
And
then
look at their quarterback they had too.
Yeah.
So it was.
And the
You can't even
weapons,
say it
wide
was behind
receiver
the
weapons.
quarterback.
Keenum.
Case Keenum.
And then the NFC West.
David Johnson.
David Johnson, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Todd Gurley.
Todd Gurley.
Oh, shoot.
Todd, what are we
Sorry.
doing,
Sorry,
guys?
sorry, guys.
Todd
What are we
Gurley.
Yeah,
doing?
it is Todd Gurley.
I just can't
No,
remember.
actually, I ranked
You
David
know what's
Johnson.
funny?
ahead.
Yeah.
I did rank
Yeah.
David
It's
Johnson.
to me. It's more that I can't remember which teams are in the division.
I
more
know.
so
Well,
than
Saint,
the facts.
they used to be in St.
Yeah, I
Louis. They
know.
move.
Yeah.
They
I'm
move
all
everywhere.
Yeah, no, I would
Yeah.
say Gurley then.
All right, so then we
very,
go-
very
So
tough.
sorry.
Those
Todd
two,
Gurley.
those two are.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That's a close race, but I would give it
the
to
look I
Gurley.
gave Paulie. I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We both agree that's
I'm
the
with
MVP.
you, though.
I
Listen,
said David
I
Johnson.
understand.
I'm with you, though.
I
I'm
understand.
trying to run the
I've had a
teams
long
down
day,
in the
all right?
divisions.
Yeah,
in my
that's
head.
what it is.
Yeah.
Like I gotta wait. Who's in that division?
All right, well, how about we say the names of the running backs in the division too, so we can. So say the division. I'll say the
No,
name.
it's okay. We don't have
If,
to
well,
do
they're,
that.
you're having trouble figuring out.
Well, we're
Option
almost-
A,
I'm trying to just
David
help out.
Johnson.
We're
Option
almost
B, Todd
through the
Gurley.
league at this point.
Yeah,
so
we're halfway through. We're
Just let it go.
flying.
Just let it run.
I'm just trying to
write it
help
out.
you guys out.
The AFC North.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
The AFC South.
Let's see, that's
Might be Fournette.
Might be Fournette. Yeah.
Fournette.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Fournette for now.
I'm gonna go
And
Fournette
then
for now.
I have a feeling you're going to say Henry.
I think
in
by
that-
the end of the year, it might be Derrick Henry.
Could be.
I still would.
But
have
I'm going to
Fournette.
give the
I'm gonna
nod
go Fournette.
for now to
I think
Fournette.
Fournette's always going to be better than Henry.
I,
I
would
was
agree with
definitely
that too.
tossing it around in my head, though.
The
You know what?
AF
I'm going to go with Henry. That's my hot take. I'm going
Your
with
gut
Henry.
Wow.
Listen, Charles, you've heard him. How many times has he said he talks about the freaking Chicago Bears?
yeah, I
So
know,
you
I
might
know.
as well say Derrick Henry.
Listen, like he loves Kareem Hunt. I love Derrick Henry. I think he's going to be a stud.
Listen, we understand.
That's fine.
My cornea is burned from all the hot takes.
Everyone
Yeah.
got.
The AFC East.
Shady.
Oh man.
Well, Miami sucks.
Shady.
The
The Jets.
Jets.
Although, okay,
Yeah.
You're not gonna go Stoney Michelle.
Shady.
No,
No,
I'm gonna.
no.
Yeah, it has
shady,
to be shady.
but I think Kenyon Drake can be a real.
I like Kenyon
person.
Drake too, but
I think Kenyon Drake could
Shady.
actually make it to like a top 10 running back, and I think Shady could drop off. So
And finally, I ended with this division for a reason. The AFC West.
Kareem Hunt.
he stinks. Who's the worst?
I would just
in the
say again,
division? Kareem Hunt.
I have to thank Paulie for my crush on Kareem Hunt. He's the one that
Sure.
showed me.
It's my fault, guys.
It's Paulie's fault.
I'll go with Marshawn Lynch. Way better than Kareem Hunt.
I'm with Ryan. We're
I'm
going
actually
Marshawn.
going Doug Martin.
Fair. That's right. He's
He
on his
did
ninth
move.
team or something. He
He
moves everywhere.
did move. He did move.
Where's he now? Oakland?
He's in Oakland.
Oh, my God.
Who also dropped
So now they have Lynch and Doug
And
Martin.
Doug
Doug
Martin.
Martin. Yes.
Breaking news, by the way. The Raiders cut Christian Hackenberg. Big news. And they get to keep their
Oh.
seventh-round pick because it was compensatory.
When will it end for young Christian Hackenberg?
The XFL. We talked about
he's
it
gonna
before.
be
USFL or
He's
the
gonna
XFL.
be. He's gonna be a superstar.
We talked about it before. He's going to be in the XFL.
Is it USFL or AFL? I can't remember what it's
I
called.
don't.
USFL.
It's just a guess.
Is
I'm
it
pretty sure it's
USFL?
USFL.
Do
The
they know
AFL
yet?
is the Arena Football League, right?
Oh, he might be on the
I don't know.
freaking soul.
He might be on the.
He might
song.
come back home. He played at
Nah,
Temple,
man.
right?
He's not gonna
No,
beat.
Penn State.
He's not
Oh.
gonna. He's
I'm
not gonna.
sorry.
He's not gonna beat out Dan Rodaball for that starting job. Man. That guy's got a firm grasp.
Speaking
on
of
that.
the Arena Football League, just like a
Oh,
side
Christ.
note,
Here we go.
because this conversation came up the other day, I didn't realize that they detracted so many teams that there's only 4 teams in the league now.
It's shrunk so much.
Like
Why do
I'm
you-
wondering, I'm like, man, why not this year? But I'm like, why are the Soul always so damn good and in the championship? There's only 4 fucking teams. Like I had no idea until the other day.
Because
Did
this
you
is
know
the
that?
city of champions. That's why.
We just keep winning titles,
It's the
baby.
city of
The
champions.
Soul, Eagles, Villanova, Soul.
Listen, guys, and the Wings are back too. They're gonna win. They're gonna be an expansion team and win. Wait, okay,
Was that
we're
the
done.
lacrosse?
Yeah, we're done. Nope.
What's
I'm not.
next? The indoor soccer? Oh, look, the kicks.
The kicks are back.
Oh my gosh. No lie, I used to watch. No lie. I'm not gonna.
Did you really?
I used to watch that.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
I used to watch indoor lacrosse.
Oh, Paulie, I heard
the Wings.
I heard the.
I like lacrosse.
They're going
I
to make a
love
new
lacrosse.
expansion team. It's going to be the Philadelphia ice skating rinks. They're going to be called the Skates.
What?
Well, they have so many freaking Philadelphia teams. They're going to have an ice
okay.
skating team called the Skates.
Like
I'm
a
joking,
like
by
a,
the
like
way.
a figure skating team.
Sure, might as well. If
Is
you have
that-
indoor soccer.
Is that gonna be esports? You know they have esports. They have a bunch of
Oh,
Philadelphia
God.
esports teams.
Yeah, I don't follow.
Are you sure?
No, I'm positive.
They put
Yeah,
T.O.
dude.
on
But I
the-
see like they like do like specials on those guys on like ESPN and shit. And like these teams like put them in these like ridiculous houses and stuff, and they just get to sit in this house and like this
Play video
mansion and play
games.
video games all
tell
you.
day.
Yeah.
I did dabble. I did watch a little bit
Jesus.
of that.
What a
Those
life.
guys, good for them. They get hype. I mean, they'll do a laps around the house when they win. They're like, "Oh my God, we did it! We did it! We did it! We
They are
just won
getting paid.
Fortnite! We did it!"
They are getting paid.
I'm on a streak in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Tom said Freeman's an issue, and he loves Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook was.
too.
Let's see. So,
Let's run a couple Facebook down before we go to break. Or YouTube.
they
I
were
mean.
They were chiming in to our little divisional game. I mean, TTP Ballin said like Zeke, Kamara. Sixer JT said Jordan Howard. Zeke,
Howard.
Jordan Howard, Coleman. I'm guessing Tevin Coleman. They're talking about. Tevin Coleman is underrated. See Todd Gurley, Jordan Howard, Melvin Gordon is another name. I actually like Melvin Gordon's the divisive one. There are people that think he's overrated.
Just good.
To me, I think he's good. He's a good running back.
Yeah.
He's like a second, third tier running back who's
Yeah.
very versatile. And
I guess because he was a first round pick, people expect more out of him.
Yeah,
Right.
no, that's understandable. But yeah, I like Melvin Gordon. Henry. So Todd Womack agreed with you, Henry.
Hey, you have a friend.
I like it, Todd. You're a
Yay.
smart man.
Sixer JT says it
We'll
would
have
be,
the last laugh at the end of this season.
I don't
We
think any
shall
of us
see.
hate Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I was
We just like Leonard Fournette.
screaming for Derrick Henry.
Since
to be
they
the
actually,
starter.
I don't know, won a
Chrome
couple-
is making me hate Derrick Henry and the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
I don't want to hate.
You're
either of
ruining
those
it
things.
for us.
Mitchell Trubisky.
It would be
Hey, Mitchie.
No, he
Mitchell.
was-
Mitchell.
All right,
said
TT
Mitchell.
Ball.
It's
I have
Mitchell
a
to
okay.
you.
Now I have. He's TTP Ballin says Kareem Hunt is way too inconsistent.
Here
You
we
really
go.
want to start TTP Ballin?
Oh, why would you open this
TTP.
can of worms?
Please start with him, TTP. Please start with him.
We got 2 minutes left. I don't think you want to start with me right
Get
now.
your argument ready during the break, TTP.
Charles, let's teach you how to condense your argument, Charles. You got 2 minutes to respond.
Oh, that's a good.
Quick
ooh, I like
fire.
it.
It's
Go.
hard to be consistent when you're barely getting the ball. There, done.
I think that's a pretty fair argument. He
Yeah.
still he led the league in rushing, did he not?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how a guy who leads the league in rushing can be inconsistent, but okay.
What
Fair
else?
argument, I suppose.
Sixers
Best
JT says
argument Charles has ever had.
because it lasted all but 1 second.
June 12th, Tuesday, 8:59 p.m.
We talked about running backs, and I had a 1 second argument.
We didn't even have to worry about Charles getting up and yelling down at the computer while he was doing it.
The day it happened, Charles has arrived.
He also didn't have to say that he watched the tape.
Yes.
Yes.
You know I watch tape. Guys, I watch tape.
watched the tape.
Sixers JT says Melvin has given me so many points in fantasy. He's one of my favorite
This is
players
true.
in the NFL. He gets a
helped.
lot of touchdowns and catches. That's why.
I was in a fantasy league, me and
Yeah.
my former boss, and we had Todd Gurley and Melvin Gordon.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yep.
We ran that damn league.
They give him the ball.
Everybody
on San Diego.
ranks everybody now by what they do fantasy
I know,
numbers,
and
though.
it's
I
not-
called them San Diego.
Which is
But that's why I like.
It's a-
I like Melvin Gordon, but I think he's like, and he helped win me a fantasy league last year. But he's good. He's not great. He's not elite. Like he's a good back. Like he's.
he
nothing-
got a lot of volume. Like in
Yeah.
terms of he's a big fantasy guy because of volume. They
Yeah.
give him the ball a
He's a
lot.
lead back. Yeah, because they have nothing else.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, they have Keenan Allen.
Well, I'm saying as far as running backs.
Oh,
go,
it's yeah.
well, gentlemen, we're gonna say goodbye to our Facebook fam and our Periscope fam.
Bye, Facebook.
So, great music choice, Ryan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you guys joined us on Facebook, right at the top of this page, right at the top of this video, there's a link. Join us for the second half over on YouTube. Same thing with Periscope. Join us over on YouTube. Look up A2D Radio. First half of the show brought to us by Gibson Mayer LLC, our certified public accountants. Make them yours. GibsonMayer.com. Scanzano Sports sponsoring our poll question, which we will continue to discuss on the other side regarding 2018 running backs. Live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios, BMWAtlanticCity.com. This is Birds of Feather on A2D Radio. We'll see you on the other side on YouTube. Welcome back to Birds of a Feather live on A2DRadio.com, live from the BMW of Atlantic City studios, BMWAtlanticCity.com. Second half of the show brought to you by StreamSmart, StreamSmart.com. Our Scanzano Sports poll question, ScanzanoSports.com. Who's the best running back in the NFL right now heading into the 2018 season? We have Le'Veon Bell, David Johnson, Todd Gurley, Kareem Hunt. We've had a lot of other names thrown out there. We can continue that discussion. We have other things that we're going to definitely dive into. We're going to talk a couple guys from OTAs who have been early standouts. We'll dabble quickly into TO. And we've just decided, especially because Paulie hasn't been here, we're going to dive into some Sixers at the end. Paulie claims he has a hot take on the offseason.
I feel like we're building it up.
And we've told Paulie
It's going to be
save it.
crazy.
I want to hear how much of a hot take this is.
It's outrageous.
It's
this last week.
outrageously crazy.
to where we don't even want to. We didn't want to know ahead of time where his head is at. Well, we wanted to know, but we don't want to know.
We might
So-
walk out.
So
You might. Everybody might walk out.
I will walk out.
show over.
I might finish the show by myself. Which is fine. I'm used to talking to myself. It's great.
Couple comments I missed from one of the groups that that the video was shared in from Philadelphia Sports Group Therapy. Greg Everham, he had said your discussion is best running back. It's Todd Gurley. It's so far in a way Todd Gurley. That's not even worth discussing number 2, though it's up for debate. He says Chris Birthright says I would say Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, Le'Veon.
Greg
Bell.
Everham says for the number 1 back, not named Todd Gurley. Yes, absolutely. David Johnson would have been, but the injury. And Zeke really does belong on the list if we're just isolating talent or considering O-line. He's going to face a lot of 8-man fronts, though, since there's no one to throw the ball to in Dallas or anyone throwing the ball well.
But if you're
I
considering,
love and Chris loved
if you're considering
what he
O-line,
said there.
he has
So
like one of the best O-lines in the league. So it's, I don't know. Again, I had him as 5, so I'm not.
So, yeah, there we go. So I wanted to make sure I got those guys in there. Appreciate them chiming in. OTAs, guys. Let's talk about the names we've heard from OTAs. We kind of dabbled a little bit in there earlier. The name I threw out that I had heard, getting a lot of work with first team as far as slot corner is Devontae Bosby.
Devontae Bosby.
Let's
talk about
They're
him.
saying he's looking really well. As far as the slot reps, he's working with the number 1 team a lot more than pretty much any other back on the roster at this point. So how do you feel about him? I know we talked about, I jokingly said up. He's taken somebody's spot, but there has been the idea floated that if he does emerge as a factor in this corner, this defensive back core, that it does make a Ronald Darby expendable, and with that and a contract coming up, it's not a bad thing if that happens. I mean, he's really gonna have to emerge.
Yeah,
but if he does, Darby's an asset to bring on board another asset. And again, it's OTAs we're talking about, so it's early. But what do you guys think as far as Bosby?
See, to me, it's if he does make the team, he's the 6th. It's because they're keeping 6 corners, and he's like the 5th or 6th corner, honestly. Because I don't trade Darby this year because the Eagles have they have draft picks next season. They don't need to acquire more picks. They're going to have plenty of picks next year. So I don't think trading Darby helps you. You're trying to repeat as a Super Bowl champion. I don't think the payoff for trading Darby for a draft pick this year is worth what you might lose this year. Because you don't I love Sidney Jones, and I think Sidney Jones is going to be a great player. But let's let him play in the NFL. Let's let him get some more reps. It's good to having too many corners. It's not a thing that doesn't exist. You can't have too many good corners in the NFL. So let's ride it out with these 3 corners with a pretty damn good backup on the outside in Rasul Douglas. Let's ride it out with that. And then, again, you have to keep Maddox because he was a 4th-round pick, so they're going to keep Maddox. And then maybe Bosby becomes your 6th corner, perhaps.
Well, here's the thing. You brought one thing. I do agree. Depending on the return, I wouldn't hate a Darby pick. I mean, a Darby trade for, a really high pick, but it would have to be, I'm talking about, a second round.
Yeah, which no one's going to give
no one's
going
to do, but I'm just saying, it would have to be something like that.
Yeah.
But I do agree. I think if you're excluding Sidney Jones, Darby is the next best corner on the team. It's interesting though that you brought up Rasul because I've also they've been talking about Bosby and like he had that one day of camp where he had multiple interceptions, and we're talking about first team reps he's getting in the slot. He was picking off people left and right, especially in the end zone, and like everyone on defense was going crazy after this one pick. And I wish I had seen it. You obviously there's no film of any of this stuff, but you're just going over what you've read, but he's been doing really, really well, impressing at the nickel spot. At the same time, what does that do to Rasul? Because I've heard that he's not really impressing, and there have been rumored suggestions by some people, even though they've been denied by the coaching staff, that they maybe you try him out at safety. But the thing is, now that you have this quote-unquote logjam, you have Sidney Jones, you have Ronald Darby, you have Jalen Mills. And then you have now Bosby's coming into the mix, and then Maddox, the draft pick, like you said. Where does that leave someone like Rasul? And, yeah, I get it. He was a third-round pick, but then also, what is his – you got to look at his skill set, too. We know what type of corner, he is. He's a long, physical corner who likes to jam. The thing is, if he doesn't get that jam, if he's not physical enough where he loses against a receiver, he doesn't have the recovery speed to make up for that. So he's got to be very disciplined and make sure he hits on that jam. The thing is, what I've heard is that he hasn't been able to translate that so far. Granted, it's really, really early. But what I'm saying is it out of the realm of a possibility that he kind of gets – you kind of get these guys to kind of start to overtake him on the depth chart if he doesn't show that he can his lack of speed, he's never going to be able to have a recovery speed. He's not. But the thing is, if he can't technique-wise, if he can't make up for that, what's it going to mean for him? Because obviously, if Bosby's balling out in preseason, in a few months, and Rasul Douglas keeps struggling, what are we going to do? I don't care if Rasul Douglas is a third-round pick, second-round pick, whatever. If the undrafted guy is out playing you, he should be ahead of you in the depth chart.
Saw it last year with Corey Clement.
Here's the thing, though. So we got to realize this. It's OTAs. It's minicamp. It's really early. There's no pads.
Right.
Where is Rasul Douglas, as you alluded to, Charles? Where is he going to thrive? He's going to thrive when the pads are on and when the practices get more physical. Where is Ballsy going to where's he going to look better? When there's no pads on and when he can show his quickness and his speed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is the time of year that's going to make a player like Ballsby look good and a player like Douglas not look as good. So I have a hard time putting stock into a lot of stuff from OTAs personally.
No, I hear
Just
you.
because it's so, without the pads, it's just so early.
It's difficult.
It's so hard for me to
I mean,
do that.
we were just talking about Donnell Pumphrey, so I mean.
Exactly.
No, I hear you.
Exactly.
That's why I said, it's early. It's just that I think that Rasul played really well in the time he did the play. Considering everything, he showed really good flashes. He's a ball hawk. I just think that with the log jam, I think he's got to also be careful. When the pads come on, he definitely has he has to play better than what they've been. I've heard of him so far. In OTAs.
I saw when Corey Unlin, they asked him about a possibility of him moving to safety. He said, no, it has not been discussed, but does he think Rasul can do it? He said yes. So there's that. Take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
I don't know that, But he said he could do it if he felt like he could.
Yeah, I think what you do take out of OTAs is there are names that do come up that hit your radar. So then you start to look, okay, like you said, now we're putting the pads on. Can that transition to the next level?
Can they keep it up? Yeah.
If Ballsby, they're that high on him, now when they put the pads on and they really start working, he's going to be a guy who I'm going to focus on more going forward and keeping an eye on. So for that, I think it's definitely worth noting.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what Russell is going to be, so I'm not really that concerned with him. But we'll see. If this kid ends up being that damn good for them, could be an opportunity. We said guys who are undrafted rookies who come in and just right from jump take over and, make a name for themselves on this team. Doug's not afraid to give them a spot on the roster and highlight them.
Mm-hmm.
Corey Clement.
Yes.
My one thing from OTAs, and we talked about this in the group chat earlier, my boy Nate Gary got jacked.
He's up 230 now.
Dude.
Right? Around 230.
He looks huge.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that kid's gonna be a player. He was a safety who had, I think he had something like 15 interceptions in college during his career.
Yeah.
Like, this kid's got ball skills. And I told you that play that you showed me that play on on Twitter, Charles.
Against Week 17.
When I saw that play live, I was like, yo, because that's textbook how you play it as a linebacker.
Yeah.
Use your inside arm to shield to like normally that's to push the play back inside. Not only does he push the play back inside, he actually tackles Zeke Elliott. That's an unbelievable play for any linebacker, let alone him.
He flattened Lyle Collins.
Yes.
Lyle Collins.
Unbelievable play.
Yeah, that was a really good play.
And now imagine him with that guy with 10 more pounds of muscle on him.
Yeah.
Like, I'm telling you, this kid can play a little bit. I like him.
Yeah,
He's my dark horse. I think he's gonna earn some playing time this year. I really do.
I think he'll definitely be one of the main reserves in terms of like if we're talking about like if you're going to map out the 3 linebackers, it's going to be obviously Hicks, Bradham, and I think it'll be Corey Nelson. I think the main reserve behind him could be Gary.
I think Gary's going to push Nelson too.
Yeah.
I think the only reason Nelson gets a slight edge is just experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Gary's going to push him, and I think if Nelson struggles, Gary's going to get reps.
Yeah.
Do you have any names you want to drop in there?
Oh yeah. Philly Goddard, Dallas Goddard, Philly Goddard, whatever you want to call him. I've heard that he's just absolutely unstoppable in the red zone. Like they line him up, and he finds a way, and it's amazing what they're able to do. Again, it's OTAs, but it's just a matter of like now that at least we can see that he's comfortable there. Like Dallas Goddard, one of the things was he's a big target who's athletic and knows how to get it up. What's that one highlight of him that they always show whenever they were talking about his when we drafted him? The one-handed grab.
Oh, the OBJ catch.
Yeah,
man.
the OBJ
that was
catch.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
That
So
catch.
imagine if a couple of those this upcoming season. So I think Dallas Goddard, one of the guys you're gonna have. I think this year. I know we used the 2 personnel packages with Ertz and Burton a lot. I mean, not a lot, but I mean 33% of the time. Wouldn't surprise me if that gets bumped up.
Oh,
If we
yeah.
start to
For sure.
Start to use that if Dallas starts to really get a feel for that. I mean, again, he's a rookie only. We got to temper expectations, but the physical tools are there. I'm really excited to see what he can do. What he can do come preseason.
Man, Carson loves his tight ends, though.
Yeah. Another guy that has.
I love hearing that because Carson loves his tight ends.
Another guy that I've heard has looked really explosive is Josh Sweat.
Yeah,
and that's really good to hear,
Yeah.
man. As a guy who like the biggest thing was him was worry about that knee. If he's looking explosive already, that's a pretty good sign.
That's a good sign, yeah, absolutely
and
right.
I also heard that Mike Wallace is showing who he is.
I saw that too. He's looked
that
pretty
Mike Wallace
spry
is
for a
yeah.
32-year-old. Yeah.
He looks like an upgrade already from Torrey Smith. They said.
Wait, is he 32 or is he 30?
I'll look it up.
I can't remember how old Mike Wallace is.
Brodo, the bro.
Sir? Yes.
Names?
Have you followed OTAs at all?
I've been dabbling.
31.
No,
31.
I dabble. I dabble a bit.
Dabble.
Dabble.
Little dabble D.
Dabble,
No,
dabble.
I mean I kind of
Dabble.
I agree a lot with what you said, Paulie, to where like listen, I can only get so much out of early OTAs. Like I'm not gonna really get invested in it. Like I love that they're practicing again. I love that there's football being played somewhere again with the Eagles uniforms on, but I'll really know when we get to actually contact and obviously preseason. That's where I really start becoming a nut again. But no, I mean I love the most intriguing thing, you guys already said it, but it is Dallas/Philly Goddard because I saw him out of college as a huge red zone threat, someone that could be great for us because. I mean, obviously, he was when we drafted him, he was the most hyped guy that we drafted. Obviously, because he was the first guy we drafted. And I kept saying to people, like, we have to remember, he's not the starting tight end, so we have to kind of be careful about getting overly excited about a backup tight end.
Temper the expectations a little bit.
But if this guy's main, threat is in the red zone, not that Zach Ertz isn't that, because he is, but we've seen – obviously, in years past, like 2-3 years ago, arguably the season before the Super Bowl season, the Eagles did nothing in the red zone. They couldn't get it done.
For years.
So if this is another element, another tight end, another option aside from Zach Ertz, and obviously Alshon with his height and in his reach for Carson Wentz in the red zone, I mean that's only exciting, and hopefully it can only get better.
Or even Corey Clement out of the backfield in the red zone.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just another weapon for
So
Carson.
in a way, and I know they're two separate positions, completely separate, but when we lost the Garrett Blount, we lost a huge red zone threat, and in a way, we could be gaining a huge red zone threat in Dallas Goedert in the tight end. So you lose a running option, but you gain a passing option.
It's fair.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's my biggest takeaway so far.
Good.
My biggest takeaway is that Nate Gary's biceps look bigger than Brodo's head.
That's fair.
Foolish.
Here's the other one, real quick. Big news also. Doug Peterson said that Nate Sudfeld, fantastic spring. You know what that means?
All the coaches.
Absolutely nothing. That's what that means.
Yep.
So true.
Well, Phyllis Demon said another thing that was actually a good point. Wentz. How Wentz looks so far in OTAs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Christ.
How he
Why is that
looks.
not my biggest takeaway? Of course.
Yeah.
It's gotta
Well,
be
I mean, I
one.
think we kind of
Yeah.
all were on that page.
I think we kind of, I mean, I almost forget about the injury a lot of times because you've read so much good about him.
Yeah.
So when I'm hearing that he's looking fantastic and he's definitely on course at this point, I don't even think anything of it.
Well,
but
here's a question for you guys, and obviously the people at home as well. Is there anyone out there that thinks Carson Wentz isn't starting week 1 now? Because I was someone who said week 3. I think I said week 3 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I think it's not a certainty because, hopefully, hopefully he continues with this.
better
But
knock on some wood, barring some kind of a setback. But I think we're in good shape.
All the wood. All the wood.
All the wood.
yeah, all of it.
No, but I think we're in good shape. Somebody said the other day, they said that Nick Foles is right now is the number 1 quarterback going into week 1. I'm like, well, of course they would, because
Yeah, no, that was
technically
today. And it wasn't even – so that is funny.
that's not like an official announcement.
Yeah, no,
it's
like,
like, okay,
I
Foles
won't,
is healthy.
Yeah, I won't name the news station that said it, but my girlfriend was watching news at home, and the person broadcasting from NoCare Complex said, oh, well, Doug Peterson said if he named a starter right now, it would be Nick Foles. It's like, no. That's not what he said at all. What he said was, we don't play games in June, but if we did, probably have to start Nick Foles.
Obviously,
but
because Wentz is not ready right now.
Exactly. He said, but it's not September, and I don't know what's going to happen in September. So for someone to twist that around as saying right now Nick Foles is a starter is the dumbest, most hot-takey, like clickbaity bullshit I've ever heard.
Don't you
Sorry.
love when narratives get twisted?
Oh my
It's my
Oh,
favorite.
God, so
It's just
bad.
it's somebody
It's
trying
just
to be
shitty journalism.
trying to somebody
Yeah.
to be the first.
Trying to
the
be a
story.
hero and trying to create a narrative, then people are like, oh, they won't dig. They won't actually figure out exactly what he said.
Yeah. It's sad.
Christ.
Meanwhile, the internet lets us know. that-
Meanwhile, a soundbite of what he actually said.
yeah.
And we know the power of the internet. Ask Brian Colangelo.
And apparently also asked Mike Hoffman's girlfriend. Which, by the way, the twisted thing in that saga as well, I was just reading. Twitter accounts from several of the other Senators' players' wives said they were not surprised that it was her and that they're so happy that Carlson's wife
Well, get her
called
out.
her out.
Get her out. Can you
Wow.
trade her? Can they trade her?
Wait. So let's tell the story because
Yeah.
not everybody knows the story. So go ahead.
Yeah,
You
so-
have the details of the story.
So for anyone who doesn't know, Eric
hockey fans.
Yes, Eric Carlson, the star defenseman for the Senators, him and his wife lost their baby about a month before the baby was due. And it was, and Carlson actually took some time off. It was, obviously a really difficult time for them. Some insanely disgusting human being, trolled his wife on Instagram, I think it was. Well, come to find out, and I won't even repeat the stuff she said because it's disgusting. Come to find out that person is the girlfriend of Mike Hoffman, one of the star forwards of the Senators, and so apparently Carlson's wife has a lawsuit against her for harassment, and apparently the team is now investigating it, and now online. 3 different players' wives showed their support for Carlson's wife because they know how Hoffman's girlfriend was. I think it was Kyle Torres' girlfriend or wife. I can't think of who else. Andrew Hammond and one other player. Their wives actually. So for them to actually come out on Twitter and say something like that, that's pretty damning. That's not that situation's real ugly, and that's a shame. It's a shame for everybody involved. It really is.
People think they can say what they want on the internet.
No, they really do,
Yeah.
man.
People
It's
think they can
disgusting.
hide behind a
That's right.
computer. You can't.
Yeah. It's,
Ask Brian Colangelo.
Well, ask his wife.
or his caller.
His wife took the fall for him.
I don't know, man.
No, I think she was.
No,
I think
he
was the
he
fault.
forced it on his wife.
I think it was both of them.
Threw
to
his
be
wife
completely
under
honest
the
with
bus.
I think it was her, but I think she got her ideas from somewhere. I don't think she formulated those opinions on her own.
No. Do we want to move to T.O.?
Let's do it.
T.O. obviously is not showing up for the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Douche.
Anybody have an opinion on it?
Well, okay. Let me say this. Let me say this. I'm not a T.O. fan. I don't like him. I think he's a kid. He's a child. He's still. I've listened to him in interviews when he's coming to Philadelphia, and he still shows he's a child. He still puts a lot of blame elsewhere for what happened in Philly, and says, oh, I wanted to make it work. We could have had championships here, and but things didn't work out because of blah blah blah. He's a kid, and I don't think he is a mature, good human being. I'll say that. At the same time, I initially I was like, okay, it's childish, but I heard other people's arguments, and I guess I can kind of understand it. I don't know if I fully agree with it yet. I'm still kind of like trying to put myself into his shoes and trying to see if this is really the best thing for him. So what other people were saying as the way to defend T.O. is that, okay, it was obvious that voters, and there was one voter that did come out after T.O. said that he wasn't going to go. There was one voter who said that, I think it was someone from New York Daily News or something, that said, if I knew he wasn't going to come, I would have voted for him anyway.
Which is
Well,
ridiculous.
that's ridiculous. Because
That premise is absurd. to
Yeah,
begin
it's an
with.
absurd premise. So we all know that there are writers who voted that wanted to keep him out because of his reputation. When I think most of us did agree, even though we might not be fans of T.O. the person, as a player, he definitely deserved to be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
So from T.O.'s point of view, it's like saying that, okay, these guys had an agenda against you for years. Didn't put you in for what he was. He was declined 2 years, right? And then this was his third year of
Correct.
eligibility. So they declined you for 2 years before finally then letting you win, when you clearly should have been like a first or second ballot Hall of Famer at worst. Now you want to go in and then have them like say, "Oh, look, welcome to the club," when you know it's all fake. So why in your position would you put yourself in and surround yourself with those type of people when they never really believed you or had your back in the first place? So that was the point of defending him. I don't know if I fully agree with it, but again, I want to hear what you guys have to say, because I'm not.
Writers
fan
in
of it.
everything have an ego. We talk about it with baseball all the time. They always have their own agendas. They always have their own formulated opinions, right or wrong, indifferent. That's just how they are. They didn't put Roberto Alomar in because he spit in an umpire's face the first year. So to punish him, they put him in the second year. These things happen. This isn't a benchmark that's being set. For me, if I'm a player and I'm going into the Hall of Fame, the end game is it's a fraternity of players who have been in those trenches. So did those writers give me a bit of a hurdle to get there? Sure, they did. That's not right. I'm not exonerating them by any means. But by not showing up and kind of disrespecting the Hall of Fame, to me, isn't a push back to the writers. It's a disrespect to your fellow guys who have been in the trenches, who have gone through the same experiences. So to me, it's an issue. And T.O., just when you think that he's like, okay, he's getting older and he's maturing, he does these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at it. A2D is a primary example. We put out a post months ago when he took shots at McNabb all these years later before the Super Bowl, just out of nowhere.
Yep.
Decided he was going to rehash old wounds and throw McNabb under the bus again. We know that nobody had any innocence in this, okay? But it's an immaturity. Then A2D just puts up there still taking shots at 5, something along those lines.
Yeah, you can't let it go.
Yeah.
And he was so, I mean, it was good for us, but he was so petty. He had to comment back to defend himself.
He was fighting with us in
Yeah.
the freaking
He was
comments.
fighting
section
in
on
the
Instagram.
comments. And it's like, dude, like, all people are saying is you're randomly taking shots at the guy for no reason. And he was trying to defend it and defend it. And this is probably going to make me sound really corny, but it's something I saw of his character. I watched The Challenge on MTV. He was on a season of Champs versus Stars. And they had him on there. And he threw an absolute hissy fit. And the people on there who were like reality show people don't give a fuck who he is. So he took shots at them. They took shots back, took his ball and went home and left the show. And I'm like you see him on things like Dancing with the Stars where he comes off as this really likable guy who's grown up and matured. He's putting himself in a nice light. And then a month later you see that kind of stuff and you're like, he's still the same old T.O. And then he comes back and this kind of stuff and the stuff that we saw with the A2D stuff and everything you hear about him, it's tiring at this point. To me, it's not the right way to go about it. And I'm not going to take credit for this. Tom mentioned it to us earlier. The way he probably could have handled it, I totally agree with Tom, was show up, say whatever you got to say, screw all the writers who didn't put me in, take your jacket and go sit down. That's a better way to go about it. Hey, I'm honored to be here with these guys, but screw you guys for trying to keep me out of it. And then go sit down, and that's it. That would be a better way to go about it. But to me, it's a totally disrespectful move, and it shows his immaturity and pettiness. Yeah. Like, people rise above. I don't like everything that everybody does to me. I don't like everything that everybody says to me, but sometimes you just got to take the high road. People have tried to push me back from things to accomplish things. You know what I do? I work harder. I get there, and I savor the moment when I get there. That's how he should be handling it.
I think that's the other side of it where I'm like, okay, you should go because – yeah, he was snubbed, and I guess you can say that like, okay, like why would he have to go? He's in it. It's just a ceremony. You know, he doesn't want to be fake. But at the same time, there are a bunch of other players who have gotten snubbed, who should be in the Hall of Fame right now. There are players who gave their all during their careers, but circumstances made them not be able to have Hall of Fame type stats to be in the Hall of Fame. They would give anything to be up there. And to finally be in there no matter when you got in, but you're not going to show up because of your ego, I think that does show a level of immaturity. So I would lean that way.
There are people in all sports Hall of Fames who have the numbers and still haven't gotten in. People that got overlooked, and by the time, I guess, like so many years of voting went, they kind of just ended up being forgotten about. But then in hindsight, you look and you're like, man, this guy had a really good career comparable to guys who were in there who would kill for that kind of a position. Didn't matter if it took them 15 times to get in. Mm-hmm. You get in.
Yeah.
Get over it. Get over yourself.
Here's what it is. He got out of San Francisco because he was a selfish jerk. He got out of Philly because he was a selfish jerk. He got out of Dallas, where that's the one thing that's actually encouraged, but he was too much of a selfish jerk for Dallas, and he got kicked out of there. Every team he left, it was unceremonious. He was a jerk everywhere he went. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. On his talent, there's no doubt about it. I don't like that the writers were petty and they kept him out. I don't like it. But for you to then get voted in and pull this just proves them right, that you are a selfish jerk. Like, that's all this proves. Like, there's two prime examples that I'm thinking of. One, I personally don't really care for Chris Carter. I think he's kind of a jerk.
I don't either.
Agreed.
Off of what his NFL career was, though, he's a great player. He should have been first ballot. He wasn't because of his relationship with writers. But you know what? He didn't mope. He didn't complain. He sat back. He waited his turn. He ate some humble pie, and he got his nod the next year. And when he got it, he was grateful. Exactly. He gave a great speech. He was humble, and he took the award knowing what it meant and what it would have meant for guys who couldn't make it. Then I look at a guy who hits close to home for us, Brian Dawkins. Brian Dawkins didn't get in on the first ballot.
Yeah.
Obviously not because of character, but because some people didn't think he was good enough to be a Hall of Famer. So he got passed over on the first ballot.
Which was stupid anyway. Go ahead.
I completely agree, but that's my point. A guy like Brian Dawkins, that guy's going to cry his freaking eyes out when he's up there.
I might cry.
We're all going to cry. Let's be real. Like, it's the greatest player of our generation maybe from a Philadelphia sports standpoint from when he was playing. Mm-hmm. Maybe the greatest player that we saw in that era. And he's getting the ultimate individual achievement. And he's going to be so grateful for that. And you got a smug jerk-off like T.O. who's going to be sitting at home pouting, throwing himself a pity party because no one is celebrating him.
Literally throwing himself a pity party.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what drives me nuts, man. Like, I get it. Like, you're right that the media was a bunch of pissy brats and didn't give you your just due, which is you should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer. No one is disputing that. There is no one saying that your talent, that you were not a first ballot Hall of Famer. But you've gotten the recognition. They've recognized you as one of the greatest players to ever play football. Go accept the award. And like Tom said, if you want to give a big FU to all the writers, do it. You can do it. Go for it. Tell them, you know what? I should have been on the first ballot. And you're right. And you have every right to say that.
I probably would.
But go there and do that.
I would have
Don't
went that
sit
way,
at home
yeah.
and be a little pissy bitch and sit at home and not take the jacket. It's ridiculous.
This is another example. And I'll say this first. I completely sided with him. A lot of people were criticizing him with his antics when he was battling, the Hall of Fame voters with the jacket that he made. I actually liked that. People hated it. I liked it. I liked a lot of the antics he was going through.
To get it.
Yes, because he had ground to stand on.
Yeah.
But with that being said, and me not being a T.O. hater by any means, yeah, he's not the greatest guy. He doesn't seem like that. It seems like
I don't hate T.O.
No,
I hate T.O.
I'm more of a fan of him than a hater of him, at least before this. This is just another example of Terrell Owens shooting himself in the foot because he spent 2 years trying to tell the world that he belonged, and the second he was shown that he belonged, he said, I'm good, and it just doesn't make any sense for the player of T.O. because he's one of the greatest players in that position, arguably of our generation, the best player. He's at the top in some people's rankings.
Yeah.
Especially for the younger fans of the NFL.
Yeah.
And to me, for a guy who wants everything to be about him, wouldn't you think that guy would want to go to a place where it actually is about him? That's the Hall of Fame, to where he gets to go on for 10, 15, 20 minutes and literally just talk about him. That's what the ceremony is. Mm-hmm. And I agree with Tom. Tom and I were talking about this the other day when we were talking off air. And I said, he had a platform to finally put to actually name names. He could have taken shots at the writers. That's fine. He could have taken shots at the coaches, at the players, everyone that did him wrong and said, hey, guys, guess what? None of you matter because I'm still here. Like I said, and Foolish Demon says, well, listen, he's a top 3 in reception, yards, and touchdowns, and he is a Hall of Famer. That's fine. That's not the question. The question is, do we like the decision for him to sit out and pull off one of these freaking stunts and say, I'm good. I'll throw my own party on the friggin' same day of the Hall of Fame ceremony? For me, it's an absolute disgrace to see as a sports fan. It's a disgrace to those Hall of Famers that have worked so hard. And it's a disgrace to see that this is the end goal for so many players, whether it's in baseball, hockey, football, basketball, golf, etc. It's championships, and it's reaching the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And for this guy who's a generational talent and should be setting the example, especially in the same time, which one thing you guys didn't touch on is that he's been trying to make the case that, I can still play in the NFL. He goes on one show and says that. But the next day he says, I don't feel like going to the Hall of Fame ceremony. So, T.O., you think a team's going to sign you because, number one, you're 50, and two, you don't want to go to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
It's a disgrace.
Foolish Demon says, that was great, by the way, bro. Foolish Demon says.
I'm not happy.
T.O. snubbed the snubbers. I'm a fan of T.O. He had a point in Philly, and he was right here. Screw those bastards. Who says he needs to go? T.O. is 100% right. And he says those players aren't T.O.
T.O. snubbed himself.
Yep.
T.O. snubbed himself. It's a disrespect to those men who were going to stand next to him on the stage, and it's a disrespect to those men who have been on that stage. It's a disrespect to those who should be next to him on that stage and will hopefully get that opportunity. Yep. And for those, like I said, who fell through the cracks, who do deserve a spot on there and unfortunately may never get in. It's not everything is about – it's bigger than him.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about him, but it's bigger than him. Mm-hmm. It's the Hall of Fame. And, we're not talking about, we got wrestling comments. We're not talking about WWE Hall of Fame where Vince McMahon picks who's going in.
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah,
it, and it's
yeah.
stupid. Coco Beware goes in. Like, this is a Hall of Fame that recognizes greatness and talent. And you look at the names and the guys who still 30 and 40 years after getting into the Hall of Fame still show up to the ceremony because it's a brotherhood to pay respect to those new guys who are coming in. Tommy McDonald went in, and up until like the day he died, he kept showing up at the Hall of Fame. Like, these guys, it's bigger than him. And that's what pisses me off, is you see the people who have the respect for it, who come back 15, 20, 30, 35 fucking years in a row to respect every new person going in,
Yeah.
and he doesn't have respect for a single person who's going in.
Good point.
I don't give a fuck what he did in Philly, whether he was right or wrong. I don't give a fuck about how jaded he is. He's an asshole. And to me, this validates them keeping him off for so many years. Not that it validates, but you understand now why people are pissy about it, because he has no respect for anybody.
Yeah.
And I'm a person who ultimately your game dictates whether you should go in or not.
Yeah. Yep.
With the exception of a Pete Rose for that. And I don't think he should be in the Hall of Fame because he broke the rules. But that's besides the point. But you should go in at some point. But if you're spitting in people's faces and you're pissing everyone off along the road, you don't think that people are going to put roadblocks in front of you and make it hard for you? Life's not a cakewalk. You have to respect people. You have to earn everything you get. You got to respect the people around you. If I came in here every day and was disrespecting Tom and saying, "Oh, this is my couch. This is it. This is my show. Put the thing on." Like, he'd be like, "Get the fuck out." He'd kick me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what's funny?
There
too?
would be no
Yeah.
birds of a feather. Like, come on, guys. It blows my mind that people think it's okay for this guy 25 fucking years running to be the most selfish person in professional sports.
Yeah.
What-
Grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
You nailed it when you
Yeah.
said brotherhood, because the Hall of Fame, not only is the Hall of Fame a brotherhood, playing in the NFL, those guys are a brotherhood, and he never subscribed to that. He never allowed himself to be a part of that. He never wanted to be a part of that. He wanted everything to be about him. He never wanted to join the brotherhood because he is a selfish human being, and he can't turn that off. He's just a selfish person.
You know what is
Exactly.
equivalent to, what he's doing is equivalent to like a little kid telling like his friends like, "Oh, he's bitching and bitching and bitching about not being invited to the birthday party," and then when he is invited to the birthday party, he's like, "I don't want to go." It's the same thing as when people were bitching about, "Oh, I wasn't invited to the wedding, but when you do get invited, I don't want to go." And it's also, not to make it political, but when people are bitching about, "Oh, who you're voting for," and that same person doesn't freaking vote, doesn't vote at all. It doesn't make any sense.
Listen, if I go to my work every day and I check off all the boxes and I get everything I need to get done, but I am being a total dick to every person in the process, do you think I'm going to get recognized as Employee of the Month or Employee of the Year? No. They're going to be like, "Cool, you did what you're supposed to do. How do your coworkers feel about you?" Because that's a part of the aspect. Whether you like it or not, the way you treat people, the culture that's around you and what you do to affect that culture, that's a big difference. Other than the year in Philadelphia where they went to the Super Bowl, he did nothing on culture to make his teams better. Yeah, he was a great player on the field, but what did he do in the locker room that motivated other guys to be better?
Again,
He had very
unceremonious.
talented teams.
Unceremonious, all of his exits for every team he ever played for.
Yeah.
Like,
I
that's
will-
not a coincidence. And you know what? One thing that I think of is, I mean, a lot of guys have said it, but here's what it is with the NFL. It's a privilege. It's not a right.
Uh-huh.
And that's the way he looked at everything like it was his right. Like he demanded to be the highest paid receiver in the NFL. Then when he got traded to Philly and they paid him, then when he had a phenomenal year and they got to the Super Bowl, he wanted more money. No, I want to be the #1 paid receiver every single season. And he just felt like everything was owed to him. And he earned, don't get me wrong, he earned the right to be recognized as a great player. He earned the right to a lot of money. He was a very talented player, but he also expected everyone to just bow to him, and it's just not the way it works. When you don't like you said, Chrome, when you don't respect you're not going to get respected back. It works both ways.
Yep.
Respect.
And he never learned that.
And
He never did learn that. And the one thing I will say that, and you were talking about culture, what did he do? One thing that Brian Westbrook did say in one of the interviews when he was on 97.5 with T.O. was that the one thing T.O. did install was work ethic. T.O. had a big work ethic that was infectious to the rest of the team. So I will say that because I do want to be fair, but you guys are completely right. You are 100% could be right. Again, like I said, there are so many players that would dream and kill to be on this, whether they are 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 100th ballot. And the fact that T.O. finally got in and wasn't able, and like can't put his ego aside to even just show up and say 2 words, I think that is just a testament to just how much of a child he is. Anyone that wants to stick up for him and make excuses and say that, oh, you know, for any team that brought him in, they should have expected him. They should have expected. They should have known what they were going to get. So it's your responsibility. It's up to you. You get the fault for bringing him in. No, like if you're to be brought in, if you're being a jerk, you don't get a pass because you're historically a jerk. You can't like you're a jerk. You get that it's on your shoulders. If you're not giving the respect like you said to your coworkers, you can't respect it back.
Fuck, I hope one day there's an A2D Hall of Fame, and I want to strive to get in that Hall of Fame. But if I'm a dick to everybody, I don't expect to get in first ballot.
You know, it's sickening to even think and actually say this, but this guy, T.O. is a generational talent. He's one of the best players to ever do what he does. But guess what? He is an extreme underachiever. Extreme, which is sickening to think about. Where he was that great, but if he didn't have this freaking ego, and I understand if you're in the NFL, if you're one of the best to do it, you're going to have an ego. I understand that. You're going to have entitlement. But sometimes you need to grow the hell up and not let it get in the way. This is why I hate Odell Beckham. This is why I hate Ezekiel Elliott. And they're different. They're different freaking, you know, they're not really comparable for obvious reasons. But this just sticking with Odell because it's the same position. It's why I can't stand him. It's because it's the same thing with him. These certain guys cannot let themselves get out of their way. Because listen, if you're gonna go through a career and you're gonna be one of the best, I'm gonna still say if you had an ego, well, you should have been the best. Oh, guess what? And I understand people are gonna probably not like that I said that he's an underachiever because he is an all-time great. But I'll say to you again, how many freaking Super Bowls has he won?
Yeah.
You understand? Because he should have had freaking 10.
As many as we have on the schedule.
Yeah, if he had, can anyone argue that if he had stayed with the Eagles, we could have definitely won at least one.
That was a dynasty
I
waiting
mean,
to happen.
they came really close to winning one.
Foolish
the
Demon
first
says
year,
the
yeah.
only thing I'll agree with is for the guys he's inducted with. After that, I don't care. So the guys he's inducted with only. What about the guys who, as I said, come back 10, 20, 15, 20, 25 times every year
And the fringe
to watch these guys continue to go and to welcome them with open arms? Because it's not about the writers in the end. Is it the writers who finally open the gates? It is. But once you're in, it's about all those guys who were sitting out on that stage, all those guys who passed away, who earned the same honors as you. It honors all of them from the history of the game. And there was an NFL long before there was a TO.
Mm-hmm.
Long before there was a TO. And it is an absolute, now it's a distraction, and it does with the guys going in this year, absolutely. It is spitting in their face. It's a distraction to them because you know it's going to be something that's going to come up and be talked about.
Well, I'll ask you guys a simple question. When you talk about all-time greats, who is T.O. usually compared to? And
Randy Moss.
you think Randy's going to be happy about this? You think he'd be thrilled about what T.O.'s doing? Because I don't.
I don't think he would be either.
You think Jerry's
he's
going to
gonna
be
be
happy
there.
with what
No.
he's doing?
Well,
No.
and here's what it is too. For me, and Crum, you kind of touched on it before. But it's what about guys who are so close, like painfully close to getting in, and are just missing every year, and they're not getting in? What about those guys who would kill for that opportunity to be on that stage, to put on that jacket, and to be with all those great players every year? What about those guys? You don't feel bad for those guys? Because I do. Because you give it to a guy like T.O. who doesn't appreciate what it is when those guys would kill for that opportunity.
Foolish Demon says, after that, I don't care in caps. He says, T.O. keeps it 100. How does T.O. keep it 100?
Keep it 100.
Yeah, 2 keep it 100.
Oh, okay.
I guess he forgot
T.O.
to take off the cap.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, man. I mean,
We'll agree
you
to
know,
disagree.
I love you, Foolish Demon. We agree to disagree, brother.
Yeah, no.
I think this is a lot bigger than him, and T.O. doesn't understand that anything is bigger than him.
Yeah.
Nothing is bigger than him in his life. So
This is correct.
I want to get to Paulie's hot take. We're moving on from T.O.
Oh, boy.
Paulie he hasn't
Here
been
we
here.
go. Can we
Oh,
get
boy.
some music? Can cue music?
No, I don't want to.
So we're gonna get Paulie's hot
I
take.
feel like this is a lot of build-up,
Talk
and
a
it's
little
just not
brief.
going to be as tremendous as you guys think it's
Better
going to
not
be.
Let's
suck,
do this.
Paulie.
It's probably going to
I
suck.
need to drink
Can I
water.
guess on the air what I think you're about to tell me?
Go ahead, guess.
There's two.
Okay.
Number one, part of me thinks you're about to say you don't want LeBron.
Well, no. That's
Because I was
False.
say
Told
that's
you
a,
that.
That's a disaster.
You know
He
that
whispered that to me. I was like, no.
I'm
no.
like,
We've
was telling
all
Chrome.
talked on the show. You know that.
when
That's
we were
not-
outside, I was like,
That's simply not the
I
case.
think this guy might not want LeBron James.
No,
anymore."
no. Do I not? I do want the best player in the world. Yeah.
So my second thing is you don't think they're going to get him.
It's actually neither of those.
All right, well, all
It's
ears.
not in, it's so here's my I am at this point LeBron or bust for this season. So that means
Really?
Oh, great.
I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
I want LeBron or I want nothing. I don't want Paul George, even though they're probably not going to get him anyway, and I don't want to trade for Kawhi Leonard this year. Here's what I'm doing. If I don't get, like I said, first and foremost, if I can get LeBron James in a Sixers uniform, I want LeBron James here. If I can't, I'm re-signing J.J. Redick.
Mhm.
I'm probably going to sign Tyreek Evans. I'm bringing Jonah Bolden from overseas. I'm hoping Markelle Fultz develops into the player that we all thought he was when they drafted him, and I'm gonna ride with a more developed Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, and I'm going to see where that team takes me. And then next offseason, I am all in on Kawhi Leonard as a free agent.
I don't hate it.
Here's my
Because I don't want to give up assets for Kawhi Leonard without A, knowing that he's healthy, and B, him not signing an extension.
here's my two Number one, I completely agree with you on your initial stance, LeBron or bust, because Paul George I think is off the table. First off, because if LeBron goes, if
Yeah.
LeBron doesn't come
I think
here,
he is either way. Yeah,
I think
If
LeBron-
LeBron
I
doesn't
think-
go here, he's going to L.A., and we already know if LeBron goes to L.A., Paul George is going
well,
to
I
L.A.
think I think no matter what, Paul George is a Laker with or without LeBron.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So he's off of the table. So for all of those people, and I agreed with most of those people that said like Paul George is a better fit. I'm sorry. I think it's
Doesn't
probably
matter.
it's 10% chance that Paul George comes here.
Yeah. I would
So-
agree with that.
I agree with the LeBron thing. I also agree you can't, and I actually expect them to do this, which I hope I'm dead wrong. If they don't get LeBron, I expect them to try and they're going to panic, in my opinion, and they're going to try and get Kawhi. Because their fear is, oh, we're going to fall behind the Celtics, so here you go. Here's Dario. Here's Markelle. Here's,
Pick number 10, and here's our first next year or something.
Well, here's the thing with pick number 10. We would have already picked because
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You could still trade that pick. This
this would have been early. I'm
doesn't-
saying like this would happen after the draft because
Yeah.
I don't think LeBron is going to sign
But you
anywhere
could
for another
still-
month. To be completely honest
No,
with
but
you.
you can still do that because if you remember, after LeBron
Oh.
signed with Cleveland, they
Oh,
traded Wiggins
That's
after
true.
that for Kevin
That's true.
Love.
So whoever they
So you can do that.
so it's not necessarily the pick, but
There's
it's
like
the guy
a-
they took with the pick.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
you need to wait a certain amount of time. I can't remember how many months it is or like what the date is.
2 or something.
Yeah, you have to wait a certain amount of time before you can trade a draft pick, but you absolutely can at a certain point.
Here's my two biggest disagreements with this. Number one, waiting for Kawhi. I don't think that's an option because if he stays with San Antonio, that's a supermax contract. It's going to be an extension, so
Yeah.
that's off the table. In my opinion, it's either Kawhi comes here or he signs a supermax. So the waiting for Kawhi, I don't think that's an option because if he ends up on the Sixers, it's this offseason or he's a Spur for the next 5 years, in my opinion. Two, and people, you're not going to like this, and I've come to a realization the last 5 days. We got to stop with we can't treat Markelle Fultz like he's a savior right now. We can't. There's
Well, no,
questions that
and
he's
I'm
even going
not.
to play in the summer league. They said today there was a quote, and I might be misquoting, and I know you'll probably know the quote better than I will, about they might be afraid, they might need to protect him from the summer league. Is that what I'm hearing?
No, it's more so they don't want – how do I put it? They don't want him to be on that stage while he's still healing, while he's still reconstructing his shot and getting it better. They don't want to put that pressure on him and put him on that stage. They want him to just work all summer and then come in the training camp ready to roll.
Okay, so here's my problem with that then. If that's the case, why in the living hell did you put him out there for the remainder of the season and against the most physical team in the NBA, the Miami Heat? Why'd you do it?
Because they thought he could add something.
Well, they made a mistake, and that's if they think that he can't handle summer league because he's still healing. That means
But
he
it's
was never
not-
100%.
No, but so maybe I misword. Summer league doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's unimportant in the grand scheme of everything. It really is. It's unimportant. It doesn't matter. It's like OTAs. It's like mini camp. It doesn't really matter at all.
See,
doesn't.
I disagree because it's a complete reset. It's a reset. And I know Simmons didn't do it, but Simmons is
Well, Simmons did do it his
he
first
didn't lose
year
a shot.
before he
No, but I'm saying his second.
second year because of his foot. Yeah, he
Yeah,
didn't want
I
to
mean-
come back. But I just think they would rather him just work. They would rather him just work. And I don't and it's well, and actually let's preface it by saying this. They didn't say no yet. They didn't say he's definitely not playing in it yet.
No, but I don't think
They
that.
didn't.
I
But
don't like the start of it, though.
my thing is this: I don't think it's like that simple either. Like I think the team is looking at it. I think his people are looking at it. And I think they're all coming to a conclusion, and they're all going to make a decision that they think is best for him, for his development for next year, and for him to be ready for next season. If they don't think that him playing in the summer league is the best way for him to be ready next year, then he won't do it. If they think he's better off just working with Drew Hanlon, who I don't know if you guys know much about that, but Drew Hanlon is the guy who's been working with Joel Embiid and is basically turning Joel Embiid into a monster. So now he's working with Fultz. So would you rather maybe him just keep working with Hanlon all summer and say, the hell with summer league, we want him to just keep working and keep grinding and keep doing his thing out there? So, I mean,
I don't think he needs a summer league.
yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't necessarily think you're wrong, but at the same time, there's not too many times where I would say this, but the team knows better than we do what the kid needs. You know what I mean?
I agree with most of what you said. My only reason why I'm so hell-bent on Summer League, because most cases I don't care about Summer League other than, we get to see these young kids 2 months earlier. That's all I really care about. With him, he seems, from the outside looking in, as a kid that lost his confidence. That seemed like he does struggle with confidence, period, in the most part. That's not a criticism of him. That's just me analyzing what I'm seeing. And I think, sure, I mean, him working with an instructor or, someone that's going to help his shot and critique him and make him a better player, that's great. I think what's going to truly help him is game time decisions, a little adversity in games, adjustments in games.
See, I don't think he's going to gain any more confidence in summer league. I think him working with the instructor, working with Embiid and those guys in the offseason, getting a little bit of more of a chemistry and a confidence behind working with these stars of this team will probably do him more good in the long run. And I have more confidence in the decision-making with Brett Brown right now being in the position
That's a big one.
than I do Colangelo. If it was Colangelo making this decision, I'd have to think, and this was way before this whole Twitter bullshit came out, that there was some kind of like an underlying story that we don't know about.
Yeah.
So I believe, because I think Brett sometimes is even more honest than he needs to be. I believe if Brett feels like it's not something that's going to benefit him and some other off-season program is going to be something that's going to help to continue his progression back, I trust in Brett a hell of a lot more than I do anybody else.
And getting back to what my thing is with Fultz, I definitely am not looking at him to be a savior. Not at all.
Okay, good.
Not at all. My thing is, though, you need to know what he is next year. Like, you need to have an idea. Like, he either needs to be on the way up next year, or you need to know, like, okay, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe this kid can't play. I am in the camp that I still think he can play. I think it's all up
me
here.
too. Yeah.
I think it's 100% in his head.
Me too.
So I want to see if he can get himself out of it. Because if he bounces back and has a solid season this year, then I know, okay, this kid's on the right track. I haven't be locked up. We have Simmons, who we're going to lock into an extension. And now we have an ascending player in Fultz. So now all of a sudden we have these three potential stars we can build with. And if we keep doing the other correct things around them, we have something here. We have something that can compete with the Celtics. And if we add another star piece, maybe down the line we can compete with the Golden State Warriors.
I'm with him.
I mean, I agree with most part. I just think, well, number one, going back to the Markelle Fultz thing and, comparing Colangelo's decision to Brett Brown, if Colangelo is still here, I 100% think Fultz is getting traded. I think the only –
Really?
Yeah, because I know Brett Brown loves Markelle. I mean, God, remember the reaction he had when he announced that Markelle was playing? I mean, he was almost brought to tears afterwards.
Right.
And especially after the triple-double, the last game of the season, Brett Brown really likes this kid. You can tell. So I think Brett Brown now making decisions, at least in the interim basis, keeps Markelle around. And I think decision-making of Brian Colangelo, where if you don't get a LeBron – I could see him panicking sooner than Brett Brown in an interim, role, or whoever they hire as the new GM, most likely David Griffin. I don't see them panicking and going after Kawhi.
And that's actually exactly what Brett said. I can't remember if it was today's workouts or yesterday's.
Yeah, yesterday.
When that's what he said. He said, we know we have our targets. If we don't get them, we're not going to panic. And that's kind of where, and I agree with. I'm basically, I guess what I'm saying is I agree with that strategy.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't get LeBron James, if I can't get the best player in the world to come to Philly, I am not gonna overpay in a trade for Kawhi Leonard.
No.
I'm just not gonna do it because here's the thing too in the NBA, star players become available all the time. They really do. It happens every year. There's a new star player who's disgruntled, who's not happy with his contract, who the team is now rebuilding or tanking, and they're trying to unload players. We just talked about a scenario like, what if I don't see this? I don't foresee this happening. But what if LeBron James goes to the Houston Rockets and they got to shed massive salaries? I'll take Eric Gordon and Ryan Anderson off your hands.
Yeah.
They might not be. I'll take a Trevor Ariza. I'll take those. Those are winning basketball players. Like I'll take those guys on my team.
Here's my
PJ
question.
Tucker. I'll take those kind of players on my team any day.
If that's the case, who are the Sixers giving up? Because
they ain't giving up much because it's a salary dump by the Rockets. They want to just get. They're looking to get whatever they can. They just want want to get rid of those contracts.
You may actually be able to get rid of Jared Bayless.
Yeah, you probably. Well, no, because then the money would not work out.
Nah,
yeah,
that's a horrific contract.
Yeah, I don't know how you would make that. Well, I guess you could and you buy him out. I don't really know how that
I mean,
works.
my question is,
they're probably going to wind up, by the way, what they're probably going to do with Bayless, I don't know if you guys remember, they're going to stretch his deal probably.
Yeah.
So what that basically means is you can stretch his deal for whatever's remaining on the contract. You can stretch it out for twice that time plus a year. So since he has 1 year left, they can technically stretch it out over double the time, so 2 years plus a year, so 3 years. So he has like $9 million left. So they can basically pay him $3 million over the next 3 years to save that cap space.
Here's a question for you guys as well that people aren't really talking about. A free agent this season. And the fit, listen, we don't need him. But if we got him, obviously, I mean, he's a top 10 player in this league, in my opinion, at least guaranteed top 15.
I wonder if it's who I'm thinking. Go ahead.
DeMarcus Cousins.
Boogie Cousins. I was thinking him too.
I mean, if you
I
can't
just
get
don't see-
Kawhi, Paul George, LeBron,
Yeah.
I mean, DeMarcus Cousins is a free agent. I don't think he's a lock. I mean, the Pelicans are going to try and keep him, but
It's a name that
I
popped
think you
up
just,
on my radar. But
I hear you, but I think the Pelicans showed that they can play together, but the team's better when they don't. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
Pelicans were like Boogie was putting up great numbers, and so is Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis is just
But,
a
like,
freaking animal.
Ah, dude,
He's a monster.
but the rest of the team played better once Boogie got hurt.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they were playing. It's just a different brand of basketball, and that. So like
And Drew Holiday.
if you have and Drew Holiday played out, but
Yeah.
Boogie getting hurt allowed Drew to take
that's
more
that was my
a
point,
more
yeah.
offensive role, be more aggressive.
Yep.
And they needed it. They needed that perimeter game. It really helped them down the stretch. So my thing is, I don't know how you can. I mean, Boogie could kind of play like a stretch 4 type role, but I don't know. That's it's just too much. And I also think the way Brett wants to play, I don't think that's going to work out.
I just have a problem with people also saying, like, not because you didn't say this, but like people are saying, oh, if they don't get LeBron, let's just wait until next year. Klay Thompson will be available, and people just
No, he's not.
assume that he would be a free agent, correct? But he's
but
not.
they're
he's
gonna
not
sign
leaving.
him.
Exactly.
He ain't leaving.
If anyone leaves there, it's going to be Draymond.
No one.
I just saw that Draymond wants a max deal, and I'm like, yep, they're gonna say goodbye. to
Yeah.
him.
No one is gonna leave there unless it's Draymond because he's
Yeah.
demanding. Klay Thompson. He's not friggin' leaving there. They can't break that up.
No.
If they break that up, they're friggin' nuts.
You talk about underrated players. Klay Thompson might be the most underrated player in the entire NBA. That
far
guy's
as quick shooting?
so good.
I mean, he doesn't
Not only
take any
that,
friggin' time.
He's a great defender.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
a really
Yeah,
good
he's a really good
defensive
defender,
player.
yeah.
I mean, one of the better two-way players in the league.
Dion says Cousins is a head case, damn good player, but how would he affect the locker room?
Yeah, I'm more just worried about how I just think he would slow them down so much to an unbearable pace, and that's not how Brett wants to play.
Simmons, especially with Simmons running the offense.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want him there for that reason.
I really wouldn't either.
I really like Boogie Cousins a lot. I think the dude can play, and
It's just not a fit with this team.
I was gonna say if they didn't have Embiid and they were looking for a center, hell yeah, I take him in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
But with Embiid already here, I don't think it makes much sense to get Boogie in here. Yeah, I mean, out of the available free agents, I mean, it's just really not. I mean, if I can't get LeBron, I'm looking for like a mid-level guy. Like I'm looking for a guy like a Tyreek Evans who's a better defender than he's been in the past, and who can create his own shot, and who's a much improved three-point shooter. I think he fit perfectly here, coming off the bench or even as a starter.
Is Lou Williams a free agent?
No, he actually signed an extension with the Clippers.
I was gonna say he would have been perfect.
Lou.
I love Sweet Lou, man.
So
dude.
Here's my question for you guys. Give me your top 2, or you give me top 3 if you want. Most likely destinations for LeBron, because it seems like these rumors, it changes every freaking week.
Cue Nick Foles, Philly.
For me, it's Lakers and Sixers are the top 2. If I was to say a third team, I could see San Antonio. I think San Antonio could be.
In which order?
I want to say Sixers 1, but I got to go with what it's looking like right now. Probably Lakers, Sixers, Spurs.
I go Lakers, Sixers, Rockets.
I go Sixers, Lakers, Rockets.
See,
But that third one is, I don't know, because I don't. You guys know more about it than me, but I just don't see how financially the Rockets make it work without shedding their whole team.
And they would. But to get James Harden, Chris Paul, and LeBron James, I shed my whole goddamn team too.
Here's my worry, okay? And it's all about intentions for LeBron. If LeBron comes here, it's about the championships. It's about the finals streak of getting there. Mm-hmm. It's about the championships. If he goes to LA, he may think he can build his own team because I've told Ralph numerous times, if he goes to LA, it's not for that team. It's for the brand and making the brand relevant with him. It's about the resurgence of the Lakers, not to help out Lonzo freaking Ball.
If he signs, Lonzo Ball's gone.
I think Lonzo's gone, period, to be completely honest with you. I think it's 70% chance he's gone anyway.
I mean, they keep Ingram, and they basically build around all those guys.
They might trade Ingram. If they can get a veteran player who can help them right now and help them win right now.
I think Ingram would be the one guy they would keep and shed the rest.
Kuzma's the only guy they keep, in my opinion.
Ingram's because Kuzma's the 23-year-old. Josh Hart would probably stick around.
Oh, yeah, Josh Hart, absolutely.
This is like a role player.
He'd be the only freaking bench
player, yeah. But I think Ingram goes because he's a 20-year-old kid. He's still got I really like Brandon Ingram, but he's still got work to do. He's still raw as hell, and they could probably get a solid veteran player for him from another team.
So if he goes to the Lakers, I'm telling you right now, it's not because I get in fights with Ralph all the time. It's not because I dislike the Lakers. If he goes there, even with Paul George, they do not win anything. They are like 5th in that conference, and I'm not joking.
Yeah,
because you're not better. You're not better than the Warriors. No shot in hell.
Nope.
You're not better than the Rockets.
Nope.
I could make a case you're not better than the freaking Pelicans.
Well, Dwayne Wade said,
depending on where Boogie Cousins goes to, that's going to have a big effect on the Western Conference in general.
Well, I mean, Dwayne Wade did say he doesn't know that it's about championships for LeBron at this point. It might be about family and being comfortable.
And that's why I'm worried.
Which makes sense in L.A.
Yep.
He's got the home there. If that's what's comfortable for them, and it is a chance to play for a historic franchise and help to try to build them back to prominence, it's an enticing situation. I don't hate the Lakers either. I liked the Lakers when I was a kid when Shaq played for them. But to me, the most logical fit all across the board is Philadelphia. When you talk about coming into a situation to where you have young, potential generational talents on the rise, you have an organization that's ready to build to win consistently, has put in a quote-unquote process to consistently win across the board, has the money to spend and the flexibility, and has the chance to do what guys like Jordan and them couldn't do, and that's pass the torch on to the next guy. It's It's just a really good way for a guy who's been a very polarizing figure in a lot of people's eyes to go out on a higher note.
Go out gracefully.
And I'm not even saying he would necessarily go out there, but hey, listen, first half of the career, couldn't get it done in Cleveland, left. We know what that became. Then in Miami, he became a villain. Goes back to Cleveland. Now he's a hero again. He goes back and brings the title back to the hometown city. Now he has a chance to now continue to build on that and do something good in the back half to where people can look back at his career and say, okay, maybe it wasn't all bad.
This is what people don't understand, and this is why I still think the Sixers get him. With all this being said and all my worries, I still think the Sixers get him because people talk about LeBron wanting to go to help his brand after his career. This is what people are missing. I honestly think that he has 5 or 6 more years in the NBA. Call me crazy. I think he does. I don't think that people think, oh, he has 2 more. He has 3 more. No.
I'd say 4.
I would say 5 or 6, just because he's the best in the world, and it's not close right now.
He wants to play with his son. Did you see that?
Yeah, I
Which
believe
he would
it.
have to play in 5 years.
Exactly. And that's why I think he sticks around. So if he comes to the Sixers,
Good Lord, how awesome would that be?
Oh my God.
it would be
Be
incredible.
insane.
It would be incredible. They'd make a freaking movie about that.
Bronny.
I don't think
Um,
that's been done since Griffey Jr. and Sr., right?
Oh, that's interesting.
Father and son on the same professional sports
I don't remember one.
Yeah, it's the only one
Yeah,
I
I
can
Ken
don't-
Griffey
I can't even
Jr.
think of
Ken
one.
Griffey Jr. and Ken Griffey Sr. are the only ones I can think of off the top of my head.
He can come to the Sixers, right? He can win. He can win 2 or 3 more championships. Then he can leave, then go to the Lakers. He can finish his career with the Lakers. Then he can worry about post-career, branding, ownership. Just because he's a free agent now doesn't mean he's never going to be a free agent again.
Yeah.
Just because he joined the team
No,
now
he's-
doesn't mean he's
he's
going to
gonna
never
keep-
leave again.
He's going to keep signing these 2-year deals with the second-year opt-out.
Right. He's
That's what
going
he's
to
gonna
leave
keep doing.
whoever he goes to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And listen, I would love it if LeBron finished his career at the 76ers because that means they're winning. I would love it. But I hate to break it to you people. He's leaving again. He's going to move. I wouldn't be shocked if he leaves the 76ers and then goes back to Cleveland to end his career. I wouldn't be surprised.
My thing with the whole brand thing, he's LeBron James. He could build his brand anywhere.
Yes.
He could sit in Saskatchewan and he could build his brand.
He built it in freaking
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Cleveland.
All
like
places.
so to me it's kind of like a moot point. It's a ridiculous
I mean,
argument.
Philly's a huge market, man. It's the fourth
Right.
largest,
Largest market in the country.
Like,
And oh,
Yeah.
by the way, he's right next to New York and he's right by DC, other major cities around
Yeah.
here where he could continue to spread his brand.
And if we're talking about his brand, part of his brand is Clutch Sports, the agency he belongs to. And guess who else is part of that? Ben Simmons. So not only is he passing the torch on, he's passing the torch on to someone who helps to enhance his company and
brand,
his
yep.
brand.
This is why I'm worried about that one. For a while, I would have agreed with you that could help things.
You want some? Do you think he's going to let him have his own team?
Absolutely. That's why
It's
I'm
fair.
worried. I'm very worried about that.
I
to
can
where
see it
he's
either
calling
way.
him. He's calling Ben Little King, and then in an interview, like, "Oh, why didn't you pick the Sixers? You know Ben Simmons." So he's gonna be like, "Well, this kid has a lot of talent. He doesn't need me to be a superstar." And I'm crying in the corner, being like, "But he does. He
But-
does, LeBron."
But Ben's talking to TMZ saying, hey, there's only one way to find out if we could play together.
Well, yeah, and Joel's saying he needs to be on the 76ers, and they can talk all they want, but at the end of the day, they're not. Ben Simmons could be best friends with
I get
LeBron
it.
James,
I
but
get it.
he's not making the decision.
I get it.
So I don't know. And Foolish Demon says, I hate the idea of LeBron going to the Lakers. It would ruin my freaking summer. It would
Oh,
ruin it.
yeah.
If he
I'd
doesn't
be
go
mad.
if he doesn't go to the Sixers, and I've said this over and again, and I'll say it again, I want to see him go to the Clippers because I'd love to see him go to L.A., but go to the Clippers and
That
piss
would be
Ralph,
hilarious.
piss Ralph off every fucking
Oh,
week.
God.
There's only one other organization where I would actually say I'm happy to see him go to. And I'm going to be pissed if he doesn't come to the Philadelphia 76ers, but there's one where it could soften the blow. If he goes to San Antonio,
I would be totally fine with that.
Yeah, I
I'd
would
be
actually
okay
I'd be
with
fine
love
with
that.
it.
I
I'd
know
be
how
okay
much he
with
loves.
that a
I'd
lot.
love to see him with Popovich, and I know
Yep.
how much respect he has for Pop. And working with Aldridge and Kawhi would probably stay then if LeBron's coming in. I'd love to see that. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
because if you look back at LeBron's career, he really hasn't played for a great coach. The best coach he's played for is Spoelstra, and Spoelstra back in 2010 is nowhere close to the Spoelstra that he is now.
Agreed.
He's improved tremendously.
So, guys, just a funny side note for the Phillies.
Oh yeah.
They were winning 5-1 Luis Garcia came in and decided to give up 3 runs and make it nice and close, but then Sir Anthony Dominguez came in and closed the goddamn door, and they won. 5-4.
Is he the closer yet?
I mean,
Can he be the official closer? Can you get rid of the freaking Neris?
he was the closer tonight.
As much as me and as us and Foolish Demon have had a disagreement, I have to agree with him on one thing because he is a resident Cardinals fan with me, and he put 4-0 Padres #Fire Matheny. Fire Matheny stinks. Worst manager in the game. On that note, guys, it's been a good talk this week.
It's been.
It was good to have you back, Paulie. We missed
Hey,
you.
man.
And he's
I'm
gone again
Charles,
next
good
week.
show.
I was going to say,
He's
I'll
gone
be
again
back next week. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'll
That's okay.
be in San Diego. I'll
It'll
be sending
me-
you guys
what,
pictures.
It'll be me and the boss man
That's all right.
next week.
Yeah, I will not be on next week either. Charles
I
is going
feel
to be
like
filling in.
That'll be a really entertaining show, actually. With
We'll
him
be
and Tom.
ranking. We'll be ranking wide receivers. So.
Oh, okay. I hope you
Yeah.
guys don't like kill each other by the end of the
I
show.
think
Yeah,
that,
we'll be
that
good.
might be one of the more
We'll be good.
entertaining shows we've had, and we won't even be on it.
Yeah. Ryan, great job over there. Ryan, the bro.
The
Doe,
bro.
Mr. I nicknamed myself. Doing a fantastic job. Which,
It's
by the
gonna-
way, when he delayed to put the headset on earlier, it was because he was over there thinking up new nicknames for
I know.
himself.
I know. I'm telling you, it's gonna blow up. It's gonna blow up. His
Now
his
I'm gonna
Twitter
entertain
handle is gonna
this.
be the bro.
The bro.
The bro.
Guys, if you joined us on Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, thank you, fam. We appreciate it. You guys drive the show. Tomorrow there will not be the fix, correct?
I'm going to be completely freaking transparent. I have no idea what those guys are doing.
All right, so we don't know if the fix is
I
gonna
won't be
tomorrow.
on.
Yeah.
I won't be
Ryan
on.
will not be on, but AM and the PM will be on tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And obviously this weekend we have we have Thursday we have Lazy Booking and Hockey Happy Hour. Sunday we have Agree to Disagree. Monday Sports Hounds. And Tuesday night we'll be back next week where Tom will be filling in for myself and Paulie.
Shout out to 2 new shows, by the way.
Yes, I
Yes.
didn't want to announce it yet. I didn't know if we were announcing it yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I jumped the gun, I guess. No, it's
Well,
it's
you
been
can.
announced. Yeah, it's been announced. We
Cool.
have 2 new shows coming to A2D, both on Saturday. We have The Hooligans, and we have Talking with Terry. A little gossip, sports talk.
Terry.
Get some females
Which
in here.
I'm super intrigued by that.
I'm
I'm
very
excited to
excited.
have both shows coming
Yeah.
on. The Talking with Terry is going to be awesome because it's a whole different dynamic than anything we've had before. We're talking sports and kind of
Ooh, I hope she
trendy stuff to speak about.
Yeah.
The ladies are going to take over the couch.
breaking down the Ben Simmons love web that he's got going on.
Oh, God, I got to ask them to talk about that.
Yo.
I'll be bringing that up in the chat.
Yes. Yes.
But it's going to be good stuff, guys. So, yeah, man, stay tuned. A2D's got a lot of really fun stuff coming along.
I also want to say as well, I want to name drop this as well, especially the YouTube. The YouTube fam, you may know him, the guy who's
Oh,
going,
yeah.
Kyle, who is hosting the Hooligans.
Yeah.
You may know him as Nitro Freak from YouTube. He has a little bit of a following over
Yeah, he's
here
got
on
a bit
YouTube.
of he's got a YouTube following. He's going to be joining us here on the A2D radio platform. So it's really exciting,
Very
guys.
exciting.
Appreciate you joining us. Thank you to the sponsors, Gibson Mayer LLC, StreamSmart, StreamSmart.com, and Scanzano Sports, ScanzanoSports.com, live from the BMW of Atlantic City Studios. This has been Birds of a Feather on A2DRadio.com. From myself, from the bro, nicknaming himself, Chucks, Paulie, we wish you guys a good week. Ryan's giving me the middle finger. Enjoy yourselves.